That probably loses the effect when I wasn't watching, huh?
It's not for you. It's for YouTube. Hi, everybody. It's Thursday. It's 8:30, and that means it's time for the rundown. It
Did
just
we
gets
post
later.
links?
Not yet, because I just went live, so we're going to do that now. Because this is your super fun pre-show thing.
Well, see,
That's
you said
not...
hi to everybody before you sent out the link, so conceivably there's nobody to say hi to.
Look, all right. Not everything I do makes sense.
Yeah, send out the links, wait a couple minutes, and then say, hi, everybody!
Hi, Dr. Nick. Okay. Hangouts on Air is moving to YouTube Live. Use YouTube Live to schedule events happening after September 12th. No, this one. I can't believe it's almost fucking September. That's ridiculous to me.
I'm on vacation next week, so.
Oh, your wife is amazing.
Yeah. She can't possibly be watching yet, so now I can say all this shit about her.
Share to rundown.
Where's the rundown? There it is.
Share the rundowns post to Questionable Endeavor.
Strangers in the night. Yeah.
All right, so we'll share that to Questionable Endeavor, and then we'll share to my personal page.
Come.
And you'll share to your personal page, and then we'll all be good to go. All right? Good to go. We already have a viewer. Hello. We'll get to the fun stuff in a second.
Yeah, don't say hello. Don't say hello to everybody yet, Adam.
Oh, we had two for like half a second. Now we're back to one. So for that one,
that's not it.
Uh-oh. I don't give a shit about your kids.
That's not nice.
I
care very deeply about the children. In fact, I believe they are the future.
Something, let them lead the way. Got them building them in time.
I don't know why I feel like an idiot. I can't get the fucking link to share tonight. Hold on.
My nose has been running for like the last 3 hours, and it's driving me insane.
Copy link address. Gah. Move that. Paste that. That's Audible Trial. That's not what I thought. What the fuck?
Man, what the hell are you doing?
I don't know. I copied the link address and it sent me to the Audible trial page.
Just share the fucking Facebook post. Bro guy. Ta-da! Bluetooth speaker. Can I please?
Bam! Got it.
Bam!
Now I just gotta figure out how to get the YouTube one done.
Amen, and let them lead the way.
You're welcome for that. You are so welcome for that. Where is my gorgeous face on YouTube Live? There it is. No, it's not really.
Pain without love. Pain. I can't really enough. Pain. Oh, that's not going to be annoying.
I might leave it there just to drive you insane.
45 second delay.
You're just a logo on YouTube, by the way.
Whatever. Nobody wants to see my face anyways.
Well, that's a fair point.
Right.
Where's the Q&A? Where's the audible? Okay. I don't have many notes this week.
I do, and plus we're doing predictions, so we'll have plenty of things to fill the time.
But I have the award-winning 3 Up, 3 Down column. So.
Yes. I did read it. And I did agree with it.
I don't think SummerSlam is going to be the same without Eva Marie.
Yeah, it might actually be good.
Well, I mean, if you watch Raw, you pretty much saw it. So.
Exactly. Hold on. We'll get into that. Are you ready to begin?
I suppose.
All right. Good, because it's 8:30.
Hey, whose fault is that?
That's my fault. I got sidetracked.
Eat a bag of dicks.
Because I had the 80 days. Oh, hello, Jackson. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Puddin'. Puddin'.
Notice how they say hi to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Jerks. Big jerks. Hijacks my Facebook and then...
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Because you're the one who's starting this thing.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can give the countdown if you want.
Okay. Rundown live in 3, 2, 1. Record. Fans, this is usually the part of the rundown where we open the show with a funny sponsor or a little joke bit on something that occurred in wrestling this week. But as a result of something that happened this week, we're going to keep it a little more somber. I want to dedicate this week's edition of the rundown to the Daddy Cat DC Dillinger, wrestler in the New England area who passed away this past Sunday. He was very influential in the New England area. For those of you who are not familiar with him, he was actually diehard Eddie Edwards' former partner before Davey Richards in the team of Sabotage. He held multiple championships. He helped train the young talent of the industry. He lived and breathed this business and understood how to be a heel in wrestling better than anybody I've ever met. He was a hard guy to like sometimes, but once you were in there, you were in there. We're going to miss him. We love him, and there'll never be another one like him. I've lived through the passing of Killer Kowalski. I've lived through the passing of Tony Rumble, two icons of New England wrestling. And DC Dillinger, in his own right, has left a big hole in the New England independent scene. And we just want to dedicate this show because if those of you who knew DC know that there is nothing he loved better than shitting on people in wrestling. So the rundown is the perfect place to pay tribute to him. Dave, we'll miss you. Enjoy your paradise, and we'll see you on the other side.
Put the theme song in here somewhere. Less likely to be on PEDs than most of the WWE roster. This is episode 259 of the Rundown. It is Thursday, August 18th, 2016. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Adam. Those dirty, dirty divas, what are they doing in the WWE?
Apparently they're doing something with Del Rio. Getting everybody all suspended and shit.
Yeah. That's one way to earn a vacation with your boyfriend, I guess.
And it's so timely because it was just last week or the week before that in the host thread we were talking about the fact that no diva had ever been suspended for the wellness violation, and now we've got two in 1 week within 2 days of each other.
Exactly. Yes, and I guess they found a way to get back on the same brand. The brand of suspension.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, we got a lot to talk about this week, so let's get right to it.
As those of you who heard the opening where I paid tribute to DC, as you can see, the Wall of Honor this week. Usually I try to get something funny or a hot woman back there or something, but this week it's all about DC. So that's
Indeed.
for those of you who aren't familiar, that's who is on the wall this week.
Yeah, I only worked with him a couple times in VCW, but he was always very kind to me, and from everything I've heard, he was a hell of a guy and will be sorely, sorely missed. So,
yeah, I think I've been in the business a long time, and I've seen a lot of things, and I learned a lot of stuff just having conversations with DC. It's awesome. I think I put it on Facebook at one point. I used to talk to him, and I said, I hate calling your matches from the commentary, and he laughed as he normally would when you would say something like that. And asked me why. And I told him because he spends so much goddamn time on the floor, I have to do nothing but filler. And he said, good. If it pisses you off, it pisses the people off more, and I'm doing my job. So the guy understood being a heel better than anybody. It was tremendous, and we're definitely going to miss him. But like I said, he would enjoy shitting on everything as much as we do here. So this is the perfect place to pay tribute to him. So now we're past the somber part. Let's have some fun and honor him in the way he'd want us to.
Indeed. And you know what, Jason?
Yes.
The shower is underutilized.
Yes.
You don't know what the fuck that means? Watch last week's YouTube episode. And then stay tuned on this week's YouTube episode for funny jokes that make no sense after the show ends. Hooray!
Although I got to say, I feel as though our Google Chat transcripts have been down the last couple of weeks. Maybe it was just such a high that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Victoria the fuck is going to be really hard to top. But
yeah, definitely.
Here's the thing. Or Google Voice is getting better at the English language. I'm not sure.
Sure. I mean, but there wasn't even a Blue Gallows and Carly Anderson on that one. That was.
All right. Well, here's the first one.
Hi, Sal.
Let me start off by saying that I understand the importance of TV ratings, and I get the fact that last week's rating probably freaked them out a little bit. But you devalue your product when you give things away on free TV. I would not have had the Demon appear at Raw, although I thought it was a good entrance with a decent reaction in Corpus Christi. You could have done a video package and accomplished the same. It doesn't make any sense that you give that away. You save something like that for SummerSlam. That's the point. And to be honest, you didn't need to have Rusev and Reigns go one-on-one, especially with a conclusive ending. If you're really hell-bent on putting them in the main event and you want them to go one-on-one, then have them fight into the back and have the whole thing just be a no contest. Why would you have Reigns pin him on the main event of Monday Night Raw unless Reigns is losing at SummerSlam, which is fine if he is, but still, why do you give that match away? That match was actually pretty good. And it would have been better at SummerSlam. As far as this best of 7 series with Cesaro and Sheamus, the only thing that makes this compelling is if the winner gets a Universal title shot. You know, if Finn wins the title, then have Sheamus win the best of 7 series. If Seth wins the title, then have Cesaro win the best of 7 series. I just don't agree with the booking decisions they're making on Monday Night Raw. And I can't really, even focus on anything else. So this is me going into SummerSlam disappointed from the Raw side. Talk to you guys next week.
Yes, let's talk about Raw. We can start off on a good note at the very least. We can start off on a good note at the very least and say at least the entire roster was there this week.
Yes. Before we get into that, speaking of the Raw roster, can I point out that up until the suspensions came out today, Eva Marie and Carmella had a spot on the SummerSlam card, and Sami fucking Zayn doesn't. Go ahead.
Something that you pointed out in the award-winning.
Actually, exciting news, Adam.
What's that?
The 3 Up 3 Down column this week, I received notice we have been given the Wrestling Literacy Award of Excellence by the Hasty Pudding Group. I don't know if that's because I usually write it in drag, but we did anyway. So thank you, folks. Yet another award on the shelf of the 3 Up, 3 Down column.
Speaking of 3 Up, 3 Down, there is a lot of wrestling content on the Questionable Endeavor Network this week.
Yes.
On the website, questendnetwork.com. Check out the articles that are posted. We've got Jason with a 3 Up, 3 Down. Troy's got his weekly power rankings. Henry Hugepex started a new column. Andy started a new column and started with wrestling. And then
Adam still hasn't contributed shit, but maybe some way down in the future.
I'm trying to think of something unique. I have ideas, but nothing fleshed out enough to actually be a column. I'm thinking, I'm pondering, I'm positing.
I have an idea. I'll discuss with you after the show.
Okay. Okay. So we open with Rusev and Lana again. Your son is going to take over the show again. He just told me on the side.
He has a tendency to do that. He does.
Yes, so just text your dad every 2 minutes for the next hour and a half, and we'll be good.
Actually, it feels like he's watching on Google Plus now, so he's not going to text me. He's going to be texting all of us.
Sweet. Yeah. So Rusev and Lana promised
the ratings go up, right?
Promised to finish their thing from last week, and it leads to them making a match tonight. Same match as they're having at SummerSlam. No stipulations or anything tonight. No stipulations at SummerSlam. Same match, except tonight.
Whoa. It was for Lana's honor.
Exactly. I was going to say, except tonight, except instead of the United States Championship, it's for Lana's honor.
And they couldn't even put Lana's honor on a pole or something. You know?
Lana on a pole match?
It wouldn't be the first time. Never mind. Yeah, you started with.
We're gonna have trouble here. We're gonna have trouble here because your 6-year-old son is watching. This might be the cleanest episode of the rundown ever.
I don't think so. I mean, you know, he knows what he's getting into. My wife's got the censor button ready to go, so keep the button on it, the finger on the button there, honey, because I'm pretty angry about this week's wrestling. So here we go, off and running. Yeah, what in the blue hell was that? Seriously,
it was garbage.
Here's the thing. There's no need to give away that match.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And if you're going to do a quick schmoz in and out, build anticipation for SummerSlam.
They did the backstage fight later in the night, and I thought for sure, oh, then they're going to do that instead of then they're just going to have the match at SummerSlam. No, main event.
They gave us a good fucking match. Like that was a full out pay-per-view quality match
for free
with a clean finish.
For free.
That pretty much gave away the finish at SummerSlam.
Yep.
So what did they accomplish with this? I don't understand it. I don't get it.
You know what they were hoping to accomplish? Ratings. You know what they accomplished? Nothing.
Well, they probably hurt their buy rate for the pay-per-view too. I mean, I guess you could make the case how many people were really buying it to watch that match. I mean,
and also they're not too concerned about that anymore because they have all the subscribers on the WWE network already.
Yeah, but it is still a pay-per-view event. They do still get new subscribers for every pay-per-view by giving away the month free and hope they stick around. And, you know, I'm very interested to see the SummerSlam card. However, it's been one of the laziest booked SummerSlam cards I've ever seen in my life in terms of the match build-up.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into all that later. The worst, of course, being related to the SmackDown brand, and I'm sure we'll get to that show as we go along. So
certainly, of course, as we do.
But yeah, so over and above the Rusev and Lana thing, I thought to me the bigger transgression on Monday night was giving away the Demon Finn Balor. I'm sorry, the Demon King, because we have to confuse people after years of months of saying the Demon Kane. Now we have to say the Demon King.
Yes.
And put the emphasis on the wrong word so they sound exactly the same. But yeah, giving that away for free was perhaps the worst decision they've made in quite a while.
Terrible decision. Terrible.
I can understand the thought process. Being that for those fans who are not fans of NXT, which is a lot of the WWE universe, as the ratings have shown, they don't get it. So showing them what this is maybe hooks them in where they weren't hooked in before. I understand that thought process. However, you gave a tease last week with the zooming in on his eye and the slight change and a little bit of the demon look and then back out.
Yep.
What you could have done this week was have him call out the demon, and you see another video of Finn Balor like you saw last week and another tease. Right. Or even above that, what I was thinking, perhaps all the lights go out and you just get a red spotlight up somewhere in the, not the rafters, but in the top section or something, and you just see him standing there in a silhouette with the light behind him. So you can't see any detail, you just kind of see it. Something to tease it without giving it fully away. Yep. And if you're going to give it fully away, Kevin Dunn, don't be a douchebag. Do enough fog to make it look right so that you don't see him crawling through the fog before he does his big grand entrance. They did everything wrong with this.
Yeah. I mean, I said that immediately as well. Like, why? It's putting the cart before the horse is what it is. Like we said, Tommy made a good point. He linked me to an article, that they're trying to spike ratings against the Olympics because they've been down the past couple of weeks because the Olympics, trying to spike that up, and it didn't work. Ratings were still shit. But yeah, you're giving, as the impetus for my lower third tonight, you're just giving things away. This is supposed to be the go home show for SummerSlam is the thing that's supposed to make people want to buy SummerSlam, not people go, oh, well, I saw it on Raw, so now I got my Sunday nights free.
Right. Yeah. I don't understand it. I can see what their thought process was, but there was an idea that there was never really. You don't give that shit away for free. You make them pay for it. You wait for the pay-per-view. That's where you do the big payoff. Absolutely. I think what they've shown us of late is that what now is more important to them in the advent of the WWE Network is the TV ratings more so than the pay-per-view views. That's what
harkening back to the late 90s, that was the beginning of the downfall for WCW, as I recall. Yeah. Trying to spike ratings against Raw instead of building these stories to get people to purchase the pay-per-views.
Which transitions me to this other point. I don't know if you saw this article that came out this week with Triple H on ESPN.com.
I did not see that. No.
Okay. Well, there was an article where where Triple H did a little interview thing, and one of the guys asked him about if he thought that 50-50 booking had hurt.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I did hear some clips of that, with some snippets from that.
Now, my gut instinct is that Triple H is towing the company line instead of saying how he really feels. And the reason I say that is because there is no 50-50 booking in NXT where Triple H is the guy with the book. But his response to that question was something along the lines of, well, how's your territory doing? Because ours is doing pretty good.
Yeah.
To which I wish the reporter was really hip to what's going on, because if the reporter knew the full history, the reporter would have responded with, well, your territory's lost 500,000 viewers a week in the last couple of years, so apparently it's not doing too good. Ratings are... The numbers are still good, but they're down. They're consistently down. They're down across the board. You're setting record lows in ratings, and you're bragging about it and shitting on other companies in the process. Really?
Yeah. I mean, he made a point about NXT too. He made a point about saying, in NXT we don't, or no, this was talking about. Sorry, this is the other part of the article talking about bringing back enhancement matches. Yeah. Talking about how they do that, and in NXT we try not to have enhancement matches. If we're gonna have a match, it's gonna have a reason, and if we're gonna pick, if we want to put Shinsuke over and build him up, we'll pick the right person to do that with.
Yeah. Well, they do enhancement matches in NXT, but I think they typically do them with guys they're trying to bring up, not their top tier guys.
Right.
Which is the point of enhancement talent, is to get new guys over.
Indeed.
But they've done a lot of those. I mean, you see them bringing in the...
Speaking of enhancement talent, can we just speak briefly about the woman that Nia Jax destroyed on Raw this week and how she was like 3.5 feet tall? She was so tiny.
That was horrible booking, too.
Okay.
So... you have this spot. First off, I love the promo. I thought the promo was great. You have this tremendous spot where she perches her up on the ropes, pushes her over. She takes a sick bump to the apron, then all the way down to the floor. She's dead. Leave her out there, take the count-out victory, and you beat her so bad she couldn't even get up.
Right.
Instead, you go out, throw her back in the ring, do a move that's less impressive, and pin her. To me, you'd have been better off just destroying her to the point she couldn't continue and leaving her out on the floor in a heap to get counted out. That looked more dominant to me.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It was it's weird how they're booking this, because now she's had, I think, 3 different finishes at this point. The one she did on Monday, I think, looked the best out of the 3. It's certainly better than the leg drop, anyways. But yeah,
I think the powerbomb or the jackhammer that she used in NXT are both better than either one of those moves.
Well, yeah, but she hasn't used those.
Plus, you can call it the fucking Jack's hammer. It's built into the. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But again, given the state of how they've booked the SummerSlam card out there, second biggest pay-per-view of the year.
There you are. You froze on me
What's
for a second there. You froze on me for a second there. But we're
You're
back.
freezing on me as we speak, so.
Hooray! Is that because I'm on the Wi-Fi? Anyway,
Probably.
I might have to plug
Dubstep
in.
coming.
Yes. Yeah, and then they did something with Brown Snowman, and I don't remember what it was.
It was just a video package.
Yeah.
Which I think was actually not bad, because I think if you're going to tell the same story with Strowman and Nia Jax, that's fine. But you need to alternate weeks. You can't have them both telling the same story at the same time. And Adam's just fucking gone. All right, so welcome to my show now. Because Adam just gets up and leaves in the middle of the show. Nice professionalism, sir.
No, I was doing it while you were speaking. If you hadn't mentioned it, nobody would have fucking known. I was fixing the internet. Dick.
For all those. Oh, you fixed the whole internet? Cool. What's wrong with it?
Too much porn. Clogging up the tubes.
Which tubes?
You know which tubes.
So yeah, that's pretty much my take on that. I think it was. I love the enhancement talent. I don't necessarily love the way it's being done. Mm-hmm. Unless this is to lead to a Braun Strowman and Nia Jax romance.
Gross. So,
Nia, you're not like most girls. I just imagine that's how he talks.
I literally did not realize that was what the lyric to the song was until like 2 weeks ago. I thought it was something about monsters.
Wow.
Monsters. Anyway, best of 7. Exactly.
Do the first 2 we've already seen count?
I hope so.
Because if so, Cesaro's got a commanding lead.
And Sal did make a good point in his voicemail that there's no point to this. There's nothing on the line. There's no. It's not a contendership thing. It's just you guys are going to fight somewhere between 4 and 7 times.
It's been done a few times, this best of 7 series. Of course, most notably, I think the famous one that stands out for everyone is Booker T and Chris Benoit,
right.
Which was done in WCW. That was done for the TV title, so there were some stakes to that,
right?
Which was good. And you also had 2 guys who had not gone to the top yet, who were elevating themselves, and this was something to set them apart from the rest of that card and push them further. Sheamus has been a multiple-time world champion, so I don't see what this gets him. Cesaro
being criminally abused.
Yeah, maybe if he wins this and they're impressive, then maybe you can make a case that it could elevate him, I suppose.
Can we just have Cesaro win it in 4? And
that would be dominant.
And just get it over with.
Well, he's up 2-0 already, so he just needs 2 more. I think it's the wrong guys to do a best of 7 with. The matches will actually be good, I think. They're good chemistry in the ring. I thought their match last week was really good.
I kind of understand the story behind it, where they were talking about, these are the two guys who, not that the focus has been off them, but these are the two guys who, were the kind of the side afterthought draft picks, and now they're trying to prove themselves, and Foley's kind of in on it now at this point. But I don't want to see them wrestle 4 to 7 more times.
Yeah, you got to mix it up if you're going to do this. You have to have different matches. There has to be a steel cage match or a last man standing match, or there has to be something mixed in there. And
you have to have something on the line, not just okay. You guys are gonna good luck. May the best man win. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Jackson, your son says, "Yeah, sure, Adam." Not sure what he was referencing there, but he says it should be Rusev versus Finn Balor for the U.S. title. Apparently, your son doesn't want Finn Balor to win the Universal Championship, just the U.S. belt.
Well, at least the U.S. belt is a real belt at the moment,
and is being booked as more important than the Universal Championship at the moment.
Although, oh God, we didn't even touch on that. If you're going to give away the Demon Finn Balor on Raw for free, the Raw for SummerSlam, how in the fuck is that not the main event slot?
Mm-hmm.
You not only gave it away for free, but you made it less important than all that stuff that happened afterwards.
Because Lana's on her, you guys. We have a special surprise guest.
Oh boy!
That's so fucking loud. That is so loud. What you need is a picture of Bobby Roode on the wall behind you.
That would be fantastic.
Hi, Troy.
Hi.
Now I wish I'd actually gotten my trivia game ready, but I didn't, so we're not going to have that this week.
Well, now we definitely need to have my son go to bed because it's going to get really bad now.
It's going to get awful in here.
A little bit. Just a teensy bit.
From his brand new blue and yellow office.
I guess it does look kind of yellow. It's wood.
It's just wood, okay, because it looks yellow. Okay.
It's wood paneling, yeah.
I'm glad you didn't paint it like blue pants. I thought it was blue pants colors for a second there, but
Nope. Sorry, not blue pants colors. And maybe next time I'm on, it'll look a little differently because this is the last time I'm using this computer for this, as I'm getting a brand new laptop, which is supposed to be a little tiny bit better than this one. So we'll see.
I actually think the problem is Troy got drafted to SmackDown Live. That's what happened.
That's why it's blue?
Yes.
That's why it's blue.
Hooray. Okay.
Team blue all the way.
But his headphones are red.
Well, Alberto Del Rio.
I'm so confused. Yeah, Alberto, we haven't gotten to SmackDown yet. We're still talking about what a shit show Raw was.
Ooh, I've got a few comments on Raw.
Fantastic. We were currently what we were talking about just now is the best of 7 series and how boring that's going to be.
Yeah, see, if this was a best of 7 series between, let's say, Cesaro and Sami Zayn, I'd be excited. Because I know that those two guys would be able to put on a unique match for each of the 7 matches. Mm-hmm. I know that Cesaro will do his best, as he always does. I do not feel that Sheamus will bring anything different to any of these matches.
Well, he might do a different count of clubbing the guy's chest as he's bent over the ropes.
Oh, my God. You just gave JBL a hard-on. Yeah.
See, I don't have a single farm animal here, Troy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like I was saying. I mean, it gives the two of them something to do, which they weren't doing previous to this, I guess. But this is a best of 7. Maybe make it a best of 5. Because at least then you'd be like, maybe it's over in 3 matches.
Well, the first 2 have already happened. So.
Which we're just not counting that.
Right. So technically, I guess it is the best of 5.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Now we did already go over the giving away of Rusev and Roman Reigns and the Finn Balor Demon appearance. So if you have any comments on that, Troy, we'd love to hear them before we push past those topics.
I do feel that, we're entering a very different time in WWE where the special events on the network they don't mean as much anymore. And I don't know if that's simply because of the fact that they don't have their pay-per-view deals anymore, really, or if they're just not seeing as much money from the special events as they are from your typical episode of Raw, which obviously they're getting a lot of money for. But they've definitely turned around and decided that special events maybe aren't all that special anymore. We're talking about the Rusev and Reigns thing, but we also missed out on Sasha and Charlotte at SummerSlam, and it being a big moment for that because we had that on the first live Raw. Which, yes, that was a really cool thing that they did on Raw, but I could have waited, And at this point, we can get into it a little bit more, but Raw also was kind of suffering from the fact that their women's division at this point is 2 people.
Right.
And yeah, obviously, they might be down a person.
Well, they have Paige.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
By the way,
maybe they can trade for Eva Marie.
Oh no, I can't do that either.
But hey, they dragged Alicia Fox out of the mothballs this week.
Yeah, so we bring Alicia Fox in. They still have Summer Rae on the roster over on Raw, and she hasn't been used at all. And
she's doing the live public workout for SummerSlam weekend now.
She's too busy calling Timmy.
That's true. Yeah, I mean you've got Nia Jax, and you cannot put you can't put Nia Jax against Sasha because one, Nia Jax is not good enough to sustain that for a very long time, especially with the fact that Sasha is such a good talker. You need somebody opposite her who can actually talk, and Nia Jax can't talk, and Nia Jax can't wrestle, and she can't act. So I don't know what they're going to do. But she's not like most girls.
I think she can wrestle. She's been in high-profile spots with Asuka and Bayley, and she's held her own. She's clearly not a finished product. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
I think she's also being booked poorly. We talked earlier. I thought the way they booked her on Monday, that finish was horrible. I thought they should have left her when she pushed the girl over the top rope and left her crumpled and dead on the floor. They should have just gone count out victory. Like, I beat her until she couldn't continue, instead of throwing her in, hitting a move that was less impactful, and then pinning her. It was bad.
It was, and I fully agree with you on that. I thought that the match was over as soon as she knocked her out of the ropes. I was like, okay, there we go. Yeah, and then really awkward botching trying to get her back in the ring. And it didn't seem... I mean, that's what happens when you have someone who's an enhancement talent like this, or just a local person, is they are typically told about a half hour before Raw goes on air that they're going to be in a match, or maybe even a couple hours before. So there's not a whole lot of getting on the same page on things. It's like, all right, let's quickly figure out this match that we're going to have. And then you have spots like this where it suffers, where there's only so much you can do at that point. And the other thing too is, why aren't they escalating this up? We've seen Nia Jax now take out 3 different local talents. We've seen Braun Strowman take out 2 or 3 different local talents. They did this with Ryback, where all of a sudden it started being handicap matches, and then eventually it started building in towards something else. At this point, we know that these two people can beat the hell out of jobbers. What more can you do now to keep my interest? Well, throw 2 jobbers at them, or start throwing actual talent on them. Get them into a storyline. You've got 2 people on Raw right now, that Braun and Nia Jax, that are not booked at SummerSlam. I do not want to see a enhancement match at SummerSlam, and I'm afraid that we're going to get one of the 2 of them in it, or maybe both of them in it, and that's kind of a mistake.
Braun Strowman has the same position at SummerSlam as Sami Zayn. Just saying.
Yes, he does. Yeah, let's...
Guy stole the pay-per-view before, had the best match on the show, perhaps the best match of the year, and the 2 guys in that match, one's in a throwaway tag team, and the other one's not even on the card.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that the other one jobbed out to Seth. Had a really good match though. It was a good showing for him.
Yeah.
Proceeded to not be on the next episode, and then was there simply to beat Sheamus to progress another storyline. Why isn't he in that storyline at this point then? Don't do a best of 7. Be like, oh well, let's have just a triple threat, something to put this guy on there because the fans are behind him, and he had an awesome match. I'd be fine even if they turned around and added an extra person to Jericho and put Sammy with Enzo and Cass and do a 6-person take, something to get this guy on the card.
Yeah. Going back a step, to the nonsensical ending of the Nia Jax match, I'd forgotten about this until I just read it in my Twitter feed. After she did that spot where she kicked the woman out of the ring, she told the ref, "Count her out, she's dead."
Yeah.
Why the fuck did you go get her?
Right.
Why did you go get her? Also, my favorite joke that I made from Raw was introducing first from San Diego, California, Carmish. Anyway.
Can we talk about? Oh wait, that's right. No, he's on SmackDown. Never mind. We'll get to SmackDown.
We still got SmackDown, the Cruiserweight Classic, NXT, and predictions. Yeah. You haven't been on since we switched to this new format, Troy. It takes a while now.
It does. Yeah, I'm okay with it though, because I'm here now.
And everything's all right.
Everything's okay.
Jason, I know you had a problem with this because I read it in your award-winning column. But I appreciated.
You mean the award-winning 3 up, 3 down column?
At the very least, I appreciated the Gallows Organization for Nether Area Diseases, which its acronym is, of course, GONAD. I enjoyed that. I thought that was clever.
Oh boy, these guys. Now I am wearing my club shirt, but I normally I don't agree with Jason. Mostly just in spite of him.
Troy likes being wrong.
I have to say the what they're doing right now with the club. I mean, this is typical Vince McMahon stuff where you have 2 guys who are incredibly charismatic and incredibly good, and they do this kind of jokey.
Go out there and make dick jokes, goddammit.
Yeah. And of course they're going to do a good job on it because they're that talented. But that's not what you should be using them for. So, of course, we get another week of them doing this and just taking it to another level when you could have turned around and just been like, okay, let's, that was a one-time throwaway thing. We're just trying to get in their heads or whatever like that. And now you've gotten to the point where this entire feud is based solely around genitalia. So much so that we almost had a trombone go into Carl Anderson's gooch, and who knows what's going to happen at SummerSlam here. And this is supposed. I enjoyed the New Day being a little bit more aggressive in their promo, and then they just brought it right back around to being jokey and with the "you won't never touch these New Day rocks" or whatever like that. It's not. It's a problem too because Raw has this problem where everything is top loaded. So the tag team division is top loaded. It's top heavy. You've got Enzo and Cass, you've got the club, you've got the New Day, and then you've got jack shit. And SmackDown has the same problem, mind you. They've got American Alpha and nobody else. But
that's because they didn't run with that team of Sin Cara and Neville.
Oh, Jesus Christ! You know what? Put fucking Neville with Sami Zayn because at least it's doing something. Okay, even
that's
put him
what
in
I
a
was going to suggest.
Put him in a feud. Put him as a tag team. I don't care. You have those 2 guys that are incredibly good. People are behind Neville. People are behind Sami Zayn, and neither of them are doing anything at this pay-per-view.
I part of me wonders if we're going to see Sami Zayn doing something at the NXT show. I can't imagine him going the whole weekend without showing up somewhere, but
maybe. I don't know. I mean, we've got at least with that, I feel like we're going to hit a very long time in between Raw pay-per-views now. Where after SummerSlam, we've got I think 2 months until the Raw the Raw exclusive one. So there's plenty of time for him to be into something in that. But for him to not be on SummerSlam is really a shame. And
here's the other thing.
Yeah.
in that same vein, and we touched on this briefly before we actually started broadcasting tonight, is SummerSlam. For the entire block of SummerSlam, it's 6 fucking hours.
Yeah.
And you couldn't find a spot for Sami Zayn in 6 fucking hours of SummerSlam?
Well, they also couldn't find a spot for American Alpha, who's supposed to be their big tag team on SmackDown.
Well, see, and you know, when I say we're trying to find a spot for Sami Zayn, he's going to wrestle at SummerSlam. I guarantee you he will be in a thrown together match on the pre-show, as will American Alpha. That's probably going to happen.
I think the American Alpha thing will kind of resolve itself once they have a tag team title on SmackDown.
Yeah, and that's fine. But no, I fully expect to see Sami Zayn against just a random opponent on a pre-show match, because they do still have a little bit more time to fill. Yes, we've got 12 matches, but we've got 6 fucking hours, and each match is not going to take half an hour. So we're definitely going to get probably another match or two.
No, but don't forget about all the panel that we have to talk to.
Well, we do have a lot of panel, and there's a good chance Sami Zayn will be on that, because that's what they did with Cesaro last month, remind you. Is he wasn't booked on the card at all, he just was on pre-show panel.
Cesaro gives good panel.
He does give good panel, yeah. It's a good Anthony Jeselnik joke there.
I missed that show.
It was a good show.
Great show. Great show.
We need to do a Latino voices segment, though.
So I fully expect that he'll probably be on there. I fully expect Neville will be on there. We do still have a couple of storylines that haven't been booked. We've got the Titus O'Neil and Darren Young storyline. We've got Baron. Right. I know. We have Baron Corbin raping Kalisto. That storyline's going on. So
I tweeted during Raw this week. So Baron Corbin's taken over Ryback's old high school bully gimmick. Is that what we're doing here?
Considering that Ryback took it over from hide and rape,
just for no reason, just smashing Kalisto's face into a wall and going, "How you like that? How do you like that? Huh? How you like that? Huh?
The other,
how you like that?"
The other weird thing about that is, you had that same thing last week. Why didn't Kalisto learn, man? Like, stay away from him. It's like 2 weeks in a row, Kalisto, really? If you can hear the guy, you can hear him lumbering up to you. He's not a silent guy. Right? I'm pretty sure he's breathing heavy by the time he gets to you.
He was mesmerized by the belly face.
I was gonna say. I think in my alternate universe, it's Baron Corbin hates Kalisto, but Baron Corbin's belly face likes him. So Baron Corbin's belly face is trying to call Kalisto, watch out, he's coming. Kalisto, look out.
Well, I'm sure it's probably Kalisto doesn't speak English. Okay, so that's probably why.
But he does lucha things.
He does speak English. It's just when he speaks English, he makes no goddamn sense whatsoever.
Baron Corbin just walks up to him and says, "Look into my nipple eyes."
Yes. I can only assume that the reason why Kalisto is in the position he is because of his good lucha thing promo. Because I'm pretty sure they're like, okay,
we were gonna push you. Sorry.
Yeah. Look, we gave you some time, we gave you a microphone, and then you turned around and gave that.
In his defense,
you just took a giant shit on the floor.
Yeah.
In his defense, I'm not sure if you remember the train wreck when they put him at the broadcasting table going into that Ryback feud. So
that is true.
The Lucha Things promo is certainly not the first time we saw Kalisto completely melt down in a verbal situation.
Yeah. Although that joke was around for quite a while. I'm gonna do good lucha things. I'm gonna do good podcast things. You know, and then just the God damn it.
It had almost as much legs as the Cody Rhodes list.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. So Raw.
Now that we've talked about SmackDown, let's go back to Raw.
Let's go back to Raw. Let's go back and talk about the fact that the Universal Championship is supposed to be the greatest championship of all time. And I know that we've been getting some fun with Shane and Daniel Bryan making jokes about it and stuff like that. The Universal Championship storyline has not appeared in the last hour of Raw since it was announced.
Yeah, we talked about this briefly before you showed up.
Yeah. And I'm fine if they're trying to kind of push the US Championship because they don't have the physical belt there. And maybe that's what their problem is they're like, well, there's not a physical belt sitting here, so we don't know. But the booking on this has been very strange. Finn Balor's supposed to be a main eventer at this point, and he's barely on the show. And you've got very silly Seth Rollins running around asking for Demon Kane, and then people reminding him it's King.
And he gets attacked by a fan almost.
Yeah, that was interesting. I heard that people were claiming he had a knife. I didn't see a knife though.
I did see something about that. I haven't seen any further evidence of that. He did.
Seth's reaction, if given Seth's reaction, if he did, Seth didn't see it because he was.
To his credit, that he played it off beautifully.
Oh, I know, sold it completely.
He did a good job. He shoved him away. Then he kind of stood there and he realized like, okay, camera's gonna be focused on me.
Yeah, I gotta do something.
Yeah, Michael Cole ruins it by being like, he's in a trance. And
Yeah.
It's like, or he just be like, he's at a loss for words. He's so flustered with this sort of like that.
Well,
and then
this
of
is
course,
also
then of course the joke at the end of, is that the Demon King? Is that him?
This is also the same Michael Cole who still can't figure out the difference between a Michinoku driver and the Blue Thunder Bomb.
See, you have that. You have the fact that he refuses to call the Pele kick the correct name because it's now just he continues to call it an overhead kick, and
He
nobody
still calls
This is the
Yoshihashi
guy-
a modified AA. So
This is the guy who spent at least a year screwing up Scoop Slam and Power Slam in Randy Orton's moveset.
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like the old Tony Schiavone. How many years did Tony Schiavone use the phrase full arm drag and twist? Think of an arm drag,
Yep.
and then tell me how you twist that.
I don't know, but people found a way.
Back in those WCW days.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think the Universal title picture would have probably been in the main event slot of Raw had they been fighting for the honor of Seth Rollins' ex-Nazi girlfriend. But unfortunately, they fired her, so they couldn't go that route.
Hey, she lived kind of near where you are, where you live. All right, she wanted to be over there in Germany. You've got experience with it. you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I as much as I enjoy the buffet of Seth, it's a little much sometimes. The buffet of Seth promos it's not great, but there's a lot of it, so it's okay.
Sounds like the worst fan page ever.
It is. It's the Seth Rollins promo buffet.
Buffet
It's
of
not
Seth.
great. Yep, the buffet of Seth.
Buffetofseth.tumblr.com.
That's right. Yeah, this is the problem is we have 3 hours, and instead of, I don't know, using that opportunity to have more storylines, they simply just drag out the storylines they have. I'm keeping track right now of the storylines on both shows because I'm thinking about maybe doing an article with storyline updates. They have the exact same amount of storylines running, SmackDown and Raw. Raw has 1 more hour, and they choose to, instead of being like, hey, we could totally have more storylines here, they're just going to be like, what, we got half an hour to fill? Let's put Seth Rollins out there.
Here's a couple enhancement matches. Here's a bunch of shit about backstage with Mick Foley and Stephanie.
They're keeping a spot warm for when the cruiserweights come to do lucha things. So, then.
Do you truly believe that the lucha things is going to take an hour of the show? No. The first time that the cruiserweights come to Raw, they'll probably be given maybe 2 matches. How soon before that is a 2-minute match in the middle of the second hour of the show? It's going to go right back to where it is. They'll be featured here and there, and maybe they're just keeping. Maybe that's why they're keeping Sammy and Neville kind of away from storylines right now, is because maybe the 2 of them are going to be the anchors of the cruiserweight division, which I think is a travesty. But
Neville, I could see. I don't think they'll do that with Sammy.
They're not using them right now, so
I have a feeling somewhere. Look, my expectation is we're going to end up at Sammy and Rusev once Rusev is done with Roman, and I think that's going to be actually a great feud. I'm looking forward to that, and I could very easily see them putting the U.S. title on Sammy at that point. But yeah, I mean, he's criminally underutilized. There's no doubt about it. But I do think they're going to invest a little bit in the cruiserweights because they're going to have to sign guys specifically for that purpose.
Yeah. How are they going to do Rusev and Sami Zayn though? Because Sami Zayn's not American. So who would you go for in that? How are we going to get our weekly USA chants if we don't have a United States contender in there to chant USA at? What's the over-under on the number of times that people chant USA during Sami Zayn and Rusev matches?
That Kevin Owens Snapchat from a few weeks ago where he's at a house show. I don't remember who he was fighting. It's probably him versus Sammy, but he's like, oh, I bet you it was, I want to say it was in Wisconsin, but I could be wrong about that. He's like, I bet you I get these idiots to chant USA, USA in a match between two Canadians. And they did.
It was in Milwaukee.
Troy's like, we got to own that one.
It was here. It was in Wisconsin.
So to try to get back on track, because we're still not even through Raw.
I was actually just about to get to that.
What did you guys think of the Charlotte and Sasha bit from Raw this week?
I thought it was stupid.
Okay.
I thought, oh well, let's put it this way. This is the problem: is Dana Brooke could be. They could be using Dana Brooke to fill out a little bit more of the Divas. I haven't called them that in a while. The women's division. Instead, she's a lackey. She gets talked down by Charlotte, and then she proceeds to just come back and be like, "I'm buddies with you again." This whole thing. I mean,
second time they've done that same gimmick too.
Yeah, it's old and it doesn't make any sense. It makes Dana look stupid. She's doing a good enough job of her own. You don't need to help her at all. At this point, like, look, I love Sasha. Charlotte's a great wrestler. She's getting better every time I see her, and I love her in the chase role where she's, she just seems a little bit more fired up than she was when she was a champion. But all I can keep thinking about is, what do you do after this? Where do you go from here?
Right.
Because eventually you got to spin Charlotte off and have her do something else, and there's nobody for her to go against, and there's nobody for Sasha to go against after Charlotte's over. So this feud is going to keep going.
Well, see, we'll get into the SummerSlam predictions later, but I have a strange feeling we're going to start to see Charlotte forming her own four-horsewoman kind of deal. And because Dana's banned at SummerSlam, I have a feeling we're going to see someone either new or someone who we haven't seen in a while pop up and align themselves with Charlotte in that situation. I will disagree with one thing. I think, in fact, they've got it backwards, because I think the way it would be positioned best would be Charlotte as the dominant champion and Sasha, the money's in Sasha chasing, not Charlotte chasing. If for no other reason you look at them side by side, Sasha is obviously the smaller, less physically impressive of the two, and it makes far more sense. It's a far better story. It's a far better visual for Sasha to be chasing Charlotte. I didn't like the hot shotting of the title. I thought that was a moment that you could have told a story at Brooklyn where she lost to Bayley the year before. She could have had that big moment culminating the dream at the second biggest event of the year, blah, blah, blah. And I think they sold their soul in terms of that situation for the cheap ratings pop. I did like the way they constructed the after the match stuff, because I think they had to do something to position Sasha as an underdog going into that match, and the taking out of the knee beforehand, I think, does that. I thought that was a nice touch. I thought it was something this match needed. And I said with the week they did the hot shotting of the title, I said at that point, I don't have a problem with it if it leads to something special at SummerSlam. If they had gone to the first women's ladder match, the first women's steel cage match, something special, something memorable, something we haven't seen before, I would have been fine with it. The end result was we get a match we've already seen on a pay-per-view that should be special. That's really my biggest issue with it.
The only issue I had with this segment was, and it relates it kind of relates to what you were just talking about, Jason, with Charlotte being the chaser instead of the champion, is you have Charlotte attacking Sasha and trying to injure her knee, and if Sasha gets injured and can't compete at the pay-per-view, then you don't have a title match, and so you've lost your opportunity at the belt. If she was the champion trying to take out the challenger, I think that would make a little more sense. But I just felt like it was a little.
You're getting your history wrong. Let me take you back to the Clash of the Champions, Sting versus Ravishing Rick Rude. Lex Luger takes out Sting's knee, and Paul Heyman points out that every wrestling contract has a clause. If by act of God or injury the champion is unable to appear, the champion shall forfeit the title, and it shall be assumed by the challenger, Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah,
well, thanks.
That's a clause. That's a clause that they only use when they need to. But I will
total non sequitur. Did anybody see that? I think it was Tommaso. It was either Tommaso or Johnny tweeted something about my mom was reading the Glorious Bomb bit, and she said that Bobby looks like an asshole. He doesn't look anything like his dad. So,
by the way, there was a new Glorious Bomb this week.
There were a couple. I posted them on the Facebook page.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah. They've now had two different opportunities to make this something a little bit better. You had the chance when Sasha was going backstage and for whatever reason asked for a handicap match. That was your perfect opportunity to be like, I want a steel cage around the ring to keep Dana out. So there's your opportunity number one. Second opportunity is it would have made a lot of sense for this match to be a submission match. Because then her taking out the knee would make even more sense. She's like, look, I'm going to take away your weapons, and I'm going to make it so you're even more soft. Even have it where at the beginning of SummerSlam you have her attack her backstage, just to create a little bit more adversity to it. And I fully agree with you that yes, the roles make a lot more sense with Charlotte being the champion, but obviously you need to have Sasha run with this belt for a little bit, not only to build her up a little bit more because we had kind of a rocky start with her to begin with, but also because of the fact that it was time for a change, not quite so soon. Obviously, I would have rather had it happen at SummerSlam because you could easily had a fuck finish there at the last pay-per-view or at the Raw there, and you could have done something else. Have the tag team championships change hands. I don't care. I don't think that having the women's championship having the women's championship change hands on that first Raw was really about that big of a ratings pop. I think people are going to tune in just because it was the first Raw of a new era. So I really don't think that even you could have still had that match because people are going to be drawn and people are not going to turn around and look at their phones and be like, wait, Sasha Banks just won the championship? I'm going to tune into Raw right now. Right. They're going to be already watching right now. That's not something that is going to bring people in the middle of your show or the beginning of your show, because you could have just been like, we're going to have the women's championship match, and then you have Dana Brooke interfere, and you have a fuck finish, and it leads to a match at SummerSlam.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they even advertised that match off the top of the show. I believe they advertised it like the match before they went to break. Hey, coming up later tonight, there are two matches before it happened.
No, it was mentioned. It was mentioned earlier.
It was on, yeah. It was on social media first. They announced it about an hour before the show that they were going to have the women's championship match. So they were trying, but they could have easily turned around and on the draft show been like, look, we're going to make our show even better. We're going to have Charlotte defend her championship on Raw. Because then you're being like, ooh, okay, well, maybe I'll tune into that. Yeah, you can't do it an hour before the show and be like, hopefully people are paying attention to Twitter right now.
All right. Getting back and moving on, because we're already almost an hour into this thing.
Brock!
I'm not.
Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar versus Heath Slater. Yeah, I still don't give a shit about Brock versus Orton at SummerSlam. I don't care. I don't care.
I do.
But Lesnar Slater, I cared about Lesnar versus Slater.
This was surprisingly really good. I loved you had Slater come out. He does his little spiel and everything like that. The camera goes away. You even have Heyman being like, "Put us in here," like that. And you're just like, okay, well, that was just a normal thing over that. When Slater did his little excuse me, you could hear the audience gasp. It's like they were hooked in at that point. They were like, holy shit, this guy is going to stand up to Lesnar. And I was too. I was just like, this is awesome, dude. And obviously I was reading on the dirty sheets, people were surprised that Lesnar isn't going to face any backlash for saying shit. Of course he's not. He's fucking Brock Lesnar. The guy
He's
could
exempt
literally.
from the wellness policy. You think he's not exempt from swearing on TV?
They played an interview, a taped interview later, that they did not. They very liberally used the drop on that because he was swearing left and right during that interview. If they're going to play that, they're definitely going to have no problem with him swearing because one, it got people talking, and that's all that WWE cares about is that people are talking about them and they're relevant. Two, it added to the segment too because it made it seem like Lesnar is that big of a prick where he's just like, fuck it. Let's not forget, this is the same company that fired Brad Maddox because he said pricks.
Yeah.
At a house
show.
On an untaped house show, he says pricks and he gets fired.
Yep.
So no more fucking Alexa Bliss. Sorry, buddy. And then you have Brock Lesnar who says, I don't give a shit about your kids in front of actual kids. And I'm sure there was a lot of little kiddies at home watching wrestling with their parents going, Mommy, what did he say? He said dang nabbit.
He said he's not going to give sherbet to his kids.
Yeah.
That's PS.
That's me. The match actually was fairly, it was a fairly normal match sort of like that, but I liked it. I'm interested to see on how this is going to end, and it's probably going to end pretty soon. I don't know how much longer that they can go on with Heath Slater's free agency thing.
See here now, to jump ahead to SmackDown a little bit and to tie the whole thing together. I think we hear all the time that they talk about what's wrong.
To jump ahead to SmackDown, where they ruined all the goodwill they built up with what happened on Raw.
Well, here's the thing. We hear all the time that whenever they do these interviews and they talk and they give themselves lip service, they basically say, "Oh, well, we got to listen to our crowd and adjust on the fly based on what the crowd wants."
Yeah.
You've got the crowd hooked for Heath Slater right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you listened on SmackDown when he won that match,
they booed Shane.
They went
booed
exactly
the shit out of Shane McMahon when he took the contract away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they made a joke out of Heath goddamn Slater again.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of dicks did Daniel Bryan is like? Okay, so by the way, in this era where we're so concerned about concussions, we're gonna let this guy beat the shit out of you when you're clearly concussed and out of it. We're gonna hold that against you and deny you employment.
Yeah. I know that we made this promise to you that if you won this match, you'd get a contract, and you did win the match, and we did hand you a contract.
Yeah.
But you called me Stephanie, so go fuck yourself.
He told him he looked beautiful.
Yeah. So
take a fucking compliment, Shane.
Even before that, last week they decided not to sign him because he showed fire and blew up at them. This week they're praising him for showing fire and going after Brock Lesnar. Make up your fucking mind. Like, do you want the guy to be ballsy? Because that's what he was doing when he told you guys off. And then he was doing the same thing with Lesnar. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And inevitably, like, he's got to be on one of the other shows. He's got to be on one of the two shows. At this point, it seems like he's leaning more towards SmackDown because they keep giving him those opportunities. But yes, it doesn't make any sense for them to turn around and not reward this guy for what he's been doing. But as I said, once this storyline is over, so is Heath Slater's push. I do not see anything coming out of this other than he's getting a little bit of that Curtis Axel rub, where Curtis Axel was kind of on there for a little bit, and people were like, oh, maybe the guy's not so terrible. And then it just kind of petered out, and people were like, oh yeah, we don't give a fuck about Curtis Axel again.
Yeah, he's on the Axel.
That's what will happen with Heath Slater. Yeah, and that's what Heath Slater's getting right now. He's getting a little rub because the fans are into him. He's making the most of it because that's what Heath Slater does quite often. He's done in the past. He's just made the most of his opportunities. And then the creative team is not going to know what the fuck to do with the guy. When they could be... Go ahead.
Speaking of which, Jinder Mahal. You make a big deal about Jinder Mahal coming back, and then you immediately have him lose.
Did they, though?
They had him in a blow-off segment where it was like a thrown-together 30-second match for a job. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they made a big deal about his. He's probably the one return they haven't made a big deal about.
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of this too, and I understand it. You brought the guy back, but this is the role he was brought back for. Was the contract that they were throwing out to all these guys. Hey, do you want to make less money than what you'd make in TNA? Come into WWE, put over the younger guys, be used as kind of that slightly above local talent, but still below like Shining Stars level, come in, make a little bit of money, get a little bit of attention again, and this is the role you're going to take. This wasn't what they were going to do with Shelton Benjamin. It apparently isn't what they're going to do with Kurt Hawkins because he got that terrible fucking intro that he's got. Jinder Mahal, no announcement on it, no previews or like that. He just suddenly showed up. And then he had one little segment to kind of welcome him back, and now he's in the role that he was signed to do. So I don't look at it as, oh, well, they brought him back to do it. That this is exactly what they brought him back for, so that guys like Neville, who are younger, can have a little bit more of a rub than just, hey, here's Danny, you fucking sex bang or whatever like that. Some guy that we signed from CZW for an event.
I'm sorry, did you just say Danny sex bang?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
So this is above a job. This is above
to an indie near you.
Yeah.
Somebody called Danny Miles. We got a new gimmick for him.
Well, he's already Dynamite, so sex bang's not that far off.
Adorable Danny sex bang.
Lovely. So yeah, I mean this is what Jinder was brought in for. Shelton was going to be brought in to be a mid-card guy, but potentially a push for the upper mid-card. Kurt Hawkins is being brought in to kind of fill up the mid-card and maybe get, close to the Intercontinental Championship scene or whatever like that. But Jinder Mahal wasn't promised that when he got in. He knows what he signed. He wasn't getting much love on the indies, so he's like, fuck it. I'll go and make like 5 figures a year and sign with WWE, get a little bit more exposure. They'll make me put that fucking turban on anymore, which is not the religion that I follow, but whatever. And I'll get a nice payday for it, and this is what I'll have to do. I just have to do what I was doing before I got released, and that is lose. A lot.
Well, see, and here's the thing. He might have gone to TNA, but Jinder Brontosaurus just wouldn't have worked, so...
Oh, my God. So me and TNA had a pretty messy breakup about a year ago. We're not quite on speaking terms yet, but I am Facebook stalking them a little bit. And
as long as you stalked the final deletion.
Yeah, of course I did. Of course.
Delete.
So that was a little bit of like that was a little hate fucking with TNA. It was me actually watching the final deletion, enjoying it. Do you want
to talk about Matt Hardy tweeting about coming on that guy's face?
I want to talk about
what
the last
absolute fuck was that?
Matt Hardy is a riot. You need to watch every single one of his promos. You need to watch every single one of his promos because he is straight killing it. They're terrible, they're funny, and I think I might have a new game if I'm ever on again. I will give you a quote, and you have to tell me if it's a Bray Wyatt quote or a Matt Hardy quote. It's going to be difficult.
Well, as of last week, we now also have Broken Brother Nero, so...
Yes, we do.
We're breaking the whole Hardy family here.
Yeah. So I have actually been listening to Matt Hardy's promos, and so far my favorite part of any of them has been, Brother Nero, what are you doing next to that watering hole? I don't know.
Nothing will ever top. Look, a dilapidated boat.
You've got that, and you've got Vanguard 1. You're always there for me. The most recent one, he like drove up to Jeff Hardy's house and got out, and the fucking drone got out of the car and followed him.
No. He's like,
and it was just
thank you for dropping me off at this location.
Yes.
And you expected to be Rebby getting out of the car next to
it's a fucking truck. I will say, the entirety of the rest of the TNA shows are horrible, but that stuff there is gold.
Did you hear him? Did you hear him on Jericho's podcast?
No, I didn't.
Go listen to it. I know how you feel about Jericho's podcast, but he does the entire hour in broken character, and it is phenomenal.
And here's my problem. This is the same problem. I listen to Jericho's podcast when it's somebody that I want to listen to. Mm-hmm. My problem is I really can't stand Jericho when he does in-character promos, like when he did the Bray Wyatt thing. Matt Hardy has done this before. He went on Mike and Maria in Wonderland and did his entire thing as asshole Matt Hardy from ROH. this is not what, like, to me, that's not what a podcast is supposed to be for like a Talk is Jericho or Stone Cold. It's supposed to be the actual person in the candid interview, like Dean Ambrose, for everyone to realize, like, Dean Ambrose is kind of a fucked up dude. But so maybe I'll listen to it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, with TNA, we again have that same problem where, you know, they're just pushing ex-WWE guys. You've got one of their hottest tag teams right now is fucking Marcus Louis and Sylvester Lafort from NXT.
I wouldn't say they're their hottest tag teams
Well, not
right
hottest,
now.
but
Not even by a little bit.
of a push.
They're feuding with Grado and fucking big Indian dude. I forget his name at the moment. No, I mean their hottest tag team is Decay, and I like the Decay team. I'm actually a fan of that. And you know, you can make it if you wanted to make your point. You could say their top challengers have been the Bromans lately. That would be a better.
At least the Bromans are
a ladder match tonight.
Yeah, at least with the Bromans, they're homegrown talent. You know, I mean, Jesse Goddard didn't wrestle anywhere before TNA, and obviously Robbie E, you know, was on the Indies for a little bit, but he's more of like a I never touched WWE. So the fact that those guys get a little bit of a push, I much prefer over someone like Damian Sandow, who will probably be their new grand champion. Which that whole thing sounds fucking terrible too, because it's MMA style matches.
I was just gonna ask if we wanted to talk about that.
And so we got rid of the King of the Mountain Championship, which is fine. The King of the Mountain Championship was stupid anyways, and it was just it was the whole Global Force Wrestling invasion. It didn't make any sense anymore because they're not really hooked up anymore.
Well, that title only existed because they came up with they put together a King of the Mountain match for a pay-per-view, and then went, oh shit, that match is centered around hanging a championship belt. None of these guys have a championship belt.
Yeah.
We need to make a championship belt.
Yeah. So it made sense. They did shit on the X Division Championship a little bit as well, with the whole Bobby Lashley just being like, I'm fucking done with this. Yeah. But whatever. It's back around the waist of someone who's at least a little bit more X Division worthy.
Fuck that guy.
But so yeah, so we're going to make a brand new championship, but it's not just going to be like a new world championship or even a mid-card championship. No. This is going to be the grand championship, which that's funny. It's almost like a universal championship. But anyways, so
I will say this, Troy. Hold on, I will say this. I like the belt design. I think it's a cool looking belt.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
But yeah. So the Grand Championship will be defended in MMA-style matches.
3 timed matches or rounds, with judges in place awarding points if the match goes the distance.
And apparently they're not even like celebrity judges or famous wrestlers. They're just dudes.
They don't even have their fucking Bellator guys anymore. That shit ended years ago. That at least would make sense. They don't have any MMA guys on their fucking roster. And Damian Sandow is not a fucking MMA wrestler.
I'm sorry, who?
Aaron Rex.
Aaron Rex?
Aaron Rex.
They're actually calling him Aaron. They're just spelling it wrong.
Yeah, they can't even fucking spell it. No,
stupidly.
It's Aaron.
What was wrong with Aaron Stevens? Have him go by his real name.
What was wrong with spelling Aaron correctly?
Yeah. He's not black. Ooh. So Aaron Rex. Well,
I expect that kind of racist humor from Adam Troy. Come on.
I'm sorry. Like I said, I fully expect them to go ahead and just hotshot, Damian Rexstar all the way up to the Grand Championship or whatever like that. Which, again, like I said, is a really stupid division. It's a really stupid idea. Unless you have, like I said, back when you had Quentin Rampage Jackson and guys like that on your roster who were trying to be wrestlers, at least you'd be like, okay, well, we've actually got some of these Bellator guys on here because we've got this dumb deal that doesn't give us anything in return. So let's give them a championship to fight for.
You know who'd be a good grand champion?
Who's
Pac-Man Jones.
Oh, that's true.
Dukes?
I'm sure Daniel Puder is around somewhere. Anyways, I think we've now officially spent more time talking about TNA than they have about thinking about booking their show. So
we still haven't gotten to SmackDown.
No, but it's time to do that because we've already talked about the main event from Raw for the
We didn't talk about the Primetime Players reunion though.
Oh, fuck that. So So SmackDown.
I just want to say for the record, I'm pretty sure, I'm now convinced that Shane McMahon is reading my 3 Up, 3 Down column, or Vince, or Triple H, or somebody, because I'm booking their shows through my column now.
Maybe Max Landis reads it. So we're for. Oh, what the fuck, man? I don't give a fuck about your voicemail. This is my show.
Hey, how you doing? It's Tommy Montesanti here to talk about SmackDown. First thing I want to say about SmackDown before I forget is in the beginning, opening scene of SmackDown, when Randy Orton took a bite of that apple, who didn't think he was going to spit it back at Heath Slater and say, that's cool? Because I know I did. Anyway, moving on through the episode, I thought Dolph and Dean had another great promo. I like Dolph getting all types of crazy into it and then super kicking him. They're building his super kick like they used to build Shawn, with a one-shot knockout. They're doing a good job. They're getting the right hype they need to get for this match. And speaking of the right hype, I also think they did a good job, as long as AJ goes over on Sunday, with Cena and AJ to end the night, Cena putting them in the edge of the table. There's rumors flying around. That's the last time you're going to see Cena for a few months. He's off doing other stuff again. But we'll see. I thought they did a hell of a friggin' job. And I thought Del Rio and Cena had a good match. They're always going to have a good match. Del Rio, at this point, he's a good hand. But you know what? He could do so much more. But here's a couple things I have a problem with SmackDown. We come back after the opening promo, and during the commercial break, Apollo Crews has words with Miz. That's how you build your Intercontinental Championship challenger? That was fucking terrible. And speaking of terrible, you want to tell me why we had 12 people in the ring for a tag team match that just ended up in a schmoz? Anyway, look, I'm glad American Alpha got the win, and I'm glad Breezango was there and Usos this time. But I don't know if that's how you build your tag division. It was a little bit convoluted. And speaking of convoluted, what does anybody think about Naomi's new outfit? Jesus Christ. I think I've seen that before in the opening scene of Belly with DMX and Nas. But that outfit was something, and apparently that's what they got her wearing now all the time, which is going to get weird. And then they made another match for SummerSlam, the 7-hour SummerSlam with Naomi and Becky and Carmella versus Natalya and Eva and Alexa Bliss. Do we really need this match? I mean, I guess the SmackDown women need their presence on the 2-hour SummerSlam pre-show. But other than that, I saw a vignette for Kurt Hawkins. But we're not going to get Shelton Benjamin. We're going to get Kurt Hawkins back. Hey, maybe him and Zack Ryder can have a feud, and Mojo Rawley can get in the middle of it. The last thing I want to say about SmackDown is, what the fuck was Baron Corbin doing to Kalisto? I'll let you guys think about that for a second and talk to you guys.
Whatever they're giving the guys on SmackDown who are doing promos, apparently he got some too, because he was fired up.
So yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed the opening promo on Miz TV. I didn't think I was going to. I thought it was going to be another one of those shitty Miz TV fillers. But that, and this doesn't happen very often, I will admit it now, that actually made me way more interested in the match watching that promo segment. I thought they did an excellent job on that.
Yeah, they're definitely doing the right thing in Dean and Dolph's promos against each other, where they're both they're both displaying their passion. Now, if I can step back 1 second before Troy talks about Miz TV and just step back to the real opening segment, which was Heath Slater giving him the fruit basket to Seth and to Shane and Daniel. If that was actually live and Heath nailed that apple toss on the first try and landed it right in Norton's arms, that was pretty great. That was pretty great.
I hope that, I'm going to say it was probably live, and that was really impressive. The only reason I'm going to say that is because they waited way too long to cut that off. When Orton is like just mowing down on Apple, and we're just like, that went on way too long.
I tweeted, Randy's eating an apple. Carlito's return is confirmed.
Yep.
I don't know, because I don't know if they'll let Daniel Bryan do openings live anymore after the whole Hollow Creed thing.
Do you think Miz? Speaking of that commercial break thing, do you think Miz constantly saying, "No, I know your name. Your name is Creed"? Do you think that was a shot at Daniel Bryan?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Also, it seemed like maybe the Miz might have been trying to take a little bit from the awesome Jericho segment with Tom Phillips from Raw as well, which can't say enough about how awesome that segment actually was. And that's another one. I can't believe that Tom Phillips was able to not crack a smile during that entire thing, where they're just going back and forth and calling him different names.
We're back to Raw.
Yeah, we're back to Raw. There was a moment in there where you could tell Jericho lost it because the camera then suddenly just cropped him out of it. And then it came back in again. You're like, okay, he composed himself. Anyways, back to SmackDown. 4 weeks in a row, we get the internet CEOs starting off the show. And 4 weeks in a row, Raw has started with Mick Foley. This is supposed to be the new era where it's all about the wrestlers, and still, these guys are all over the show. That's not to say I don't love D-Bry, I don't love Shane, but there is no fucking reason that they need to be in the beginning of every show. You can start the show off with Orton and Slater talking backstage. You can start the show off with anything other than the two of them every fucking week.
Maybe Randy just wanted a snack, though, so they had to have that segment so they could have that apple that he made.
There's also, I can't believe that we're still doing the stupid thing where the TV is right there and people are standing over here and watching it. That's not how you watch TV. You do not watch from the side.
Well,
anyways.
So you kind of brought up the backstage bit a little bit, and again, I hesitate to give this guy a ton of credit for anything, but I was listening to the Vince Russo show this week. And, one of the things he did say that was compelling was that every week when they would get to TV, he would take an hour, walk around the building, find different locations that looked cool and different, and think of things he could film there. Whereas nowadays they have that one set in the backstage where everything happens in that one place. And it's visually boring, and it doesn't move around, and it doesn't spark your brain to look at the new stuff and check the surroundings, and that does take away from things. And it was one of those things I never realized, and then when he said it, I was kind of like, yeah, actually that makes sense, and I think I do feel like that. So,
considering that I watched an old Raw Attitude to get an old Raw from the Attitude Era.
Why'd you do that, Troy?
Well, because I was on the Raw Attitude podcast.
What?
I thought Triple H was going to be on there.
Yeah, well, you know.
Episode 19 dropped this week.
Yeah, just
Troy,
watching.
Please just tell us how's your territory doing, Triple H.
That's going to be my new thing anytime. So if someone comes up to me and just be like, "How you doing?" I'd be like, "How's your territory doing?" They used to do that a lot. They used to have it where you would have guys just randomly in different areas.
Yeah.
And you would have it where, and even this night, Raw did a little bit of it. I know we're going back to Raw again, where Seth was going around, and it reminded me a lot of like the old Raw versus SmackDown games, where like the career mode you had to walk around and find different wrestlers back there. That's kind of what Seth Rollins was doing. He was just like, oh, he found Neville. That means he's gonna have a match with him. So yeah, this is, and maybe I had a stroke during the show, but did they not use their Talking Smack set for anything on the SmackDown? I don't think
They used it for Talking Smack, which is one of my new favorite things.
Yeah, but the week before we had Renee Young interview people like 4 different times during it, and then this last one all of a sudden it was just gone.
And then Miz and Maurice had sex on the desk.
Yeah, so maybe that's what maybe they had to disinfect it. That makes sense then. Renee Young's like, look, I got herpes. I don't know how, but
she did break her ankle this week, so
she can sit down at the desk because she doesn't stand.
Yeah, the thing that the reason you brought that up was in terms of the different locations was you brought up Mick Foley, and I just remember when he was commissioner before, and he used to have his office in really odd locations throughout the building. I think that's. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was one of my favorite things. So.
He's still kind of doing it here and there now, but yeah, mostly it's all right. We set up the TV, and we're just gonna stand in front of it. Which, boy, like that's gotta hurt your feet after a while, standing on concrete for 3 hours straight, just like having people walk up to you and talk. That's just gonna like get him a chair, like a lawn chair or something like that.
And
Something, man.
Completely off that topic because you brought up the Jericho thing. This just sparked my thought process. If we go to the route that you talked about earlier and we do get a jobber match with Braun Strowman at SummerSlam, the jobber has to be Jim and Marvin Luter. That needs to happen.
The great Jim and Marvin Luter.
Yeah, I would also love it too if when Byron Saxton interviews him, he's just like, "What? I thought I had Chris Jericho's back, but apparently doesn't have mine."
Yes, Shane, if you're listening, you're welcome for that tremendous idea.
Yeah, or Max Landis, whoever listens to the show that writes for WWE.
Going back to the Miz TV segment.
No, we're just gonna keep derailing this. Yeah,
going back to the Miz TV segment. Did anybody
going back to TNA this week?
Did anybody else catch when Dolph said he was going to kick Dean Ambrose's head off of his face?
Yes. Ambrose that said that to Dolph?
No, it was Dolph because he was talking about he was going to super kick him. He said he was going to kick his head off his face.
Yeah.
This was a lot. This reminded me a lot of I'm going to kick his legs out from under his legs.
That's what I said. That's the joke that I made.
Yeah.
That's the joke that I made on Twitter. That classic Owen promo.
Yeah.
Kicking your leg out of your leg.
There was a lot of problems. So now that we're firmly entrenched in SmackDown and definitely not talking about any of the topics during SmackDown, I wanted to bring up some more fucking JBL. There was so
many things this week.
So many problems this week. But my favorite is the fact that he called him Delberto Del Rio.
I did notice that. And David Otunga is fucking useless, you guys. Can we just?
Yeah, I thought Otunga was better this week than he has been, honestly. I think they've settled into a bit of a groove now where Morrow is really, if you watch, he's really trying to out quarterback. Like he pitches everything to them. Like, so John, what do you think about that? So David, what do you have to say about that?
That's fine. He's okay in that spot. But when they call on David Otunga to promote things that are happening later in the show, it is just the most like stilted, forced thing. Alright, coming up later tonight, we're gonna have a Tilden tag team match, and it's gonna be really great, you guys. So make sure that you stay tuned.
I know guys who have been doing podcasts, TV shows for years, and they still suck at doing like advertising reads. It's just it takes something to get used to that. But I thought when Otunga was going back and forth with AJ, I thought he did a really good job. So
he was doing decent there. The problem with Otunga is he doesn't really have a range of emotions. He's not monotone, but he is the same kind of flatline throughout the entire show. He never really gets excited. When you've got Morrow who bounces up and down, and you've got JBL who's always constantly up here, I understand the need for a guy who kind of brings it back down, but Otunga is not skilled enough yet to really kind of counteract that, and he just usually just kind of sits on his hands and just lets the big boys talk over there. And honestly, I really wish that WWE had like something that they could do to get him a little more experience, like some place that they could send him to maybe develop his skills a little bit more as a commentator. Sadly, they don't. But
at least they're not actively shitting on him like they would actively shit on Byron Saxton.
Give it time. I will say that Morrow does try to legitimize Otunga a little bit more, bringing up the fact that he was tag team champion with Cena.
Yeah.
He definitely does do a lot. Yeah, that's one thing that you wouldn't get if David Otunga was in the place of Corey Graves on Raw. You would get it where Michael Cole would shit on David Otunga and not give him anything like that because Michael Cole doesn't give a shit about the people sitting next to him.
I will say this: I really enjoyed when Cole fucked up the Michinoku driver / Blue Thunder Bomb this week. Corey Graves shut him down real quick and redirected him. I thought that was great. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Corey Graves is amazing.
I feel like that's it's probably Graves. Somebody is holding Michael Cole a lot more accountable because there's way more times now that when we come back from commercial, he corrects himself on the mistakes he made. So somebody is holding a little bit more accountable where before it just kind of like, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen and we're going to keep going with it. But there's so many times that he'll come back from break and be like, I'm really sorry, but that was Charlotte that hit Sasha Banks with that.
I still pray for the day we get the Mauro Ranallo, Corey Graves 2-man booth. But
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, but the problem is that WWE doesn't care about their announcers being cohesive together, and that would be good. And I will say that Graves and Byron Saxon are actually kind of interesting now together, because Saxon's kind of finding his role as well, where he's just kind of a doofy black guy at this point, and he's kind of playing it off.
I also feel like Mauro Ranallo is a lot better at keeping JBL in his place.
He is.
And not letting JBL just go off on JBL rants.
Well,
yeah, the problem was, though, he didn't stop JBL from asking AJ Styles if he was upset that he couldn't see John Cena.
Well, I don't know. I love the part where at one point Mauro Ranallo says, "John, and this is a match 15 years in the making." And John goes, "Yeah, it's a match 15 years in the making." Like, did you hear that that's what he just said to you?
That was your setup, buddy. That was your setup. That wasn't your line. That was your setup.
Also, not for nothing, but just
Thanks,
like 20 minutes before that, they ran a promo package that said both guys have been in the WWE for 14 years. Why do they keep saying 15 years, and then the promo guys get it right, and it's been 14 years? They have only been in the company, they've only been wrestling for 14 years. This isn't a match 15 years in the making. This isn't technically even a match that's 14 years in the making, mind you, because that doesn't make a lot of sense. Your
audio and your video are all out of sync right now, so it's just really funny. Sorry.
It's fine on my end, but anyways, I'm also enjoying the fact that they're calling this like a dream match when it happened at like 2 pay-per-views ago, the last fucking pay-per-view. Like, yeah, we've seen in Styles before. It's happened already.
Not to keep burying JBL, but fuck him.
Wait, butt fuck him? I don't want to butt fuck him.
He probably would want that. I'm pretty sure even he made a mention about the fact that this was a match that we've never seen before, completely forgetting about the fact that we have seen it 2 months ago.
Yeah, I have a tweet about that somewhere.
Yeah. So the women on SmackDown is very interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether I should call her LS Naomi D or Naomi E.
Naomi E sounds a little bit better. So
I would be happy if they could decide between Naomi or Naomi, because if you watch, they call her both.
They do call her both, but to be honest, who gives a shit? So yeah, Naomi had a new entrance straight out of Jeff Hardy's memory banks, and
I liked it.
I liked it too. The only thing is that she's not Bret Hart. Don't hand stuff to the crowd, because
how else are we going to know she's a face, Troy? The last time we saw her, she was a bad guy. Now she's a good guy for no reason. How are we going to know that if she doesn't give free shit to the kids? And they're giving away everything on Raw. They might as well give away some shit on SmackDown.
Literally 2 weeks ago, I would have said that she was still a heel.
Right.
Because she came out and ran a promo that didn't sound remotely face, and then all of a sudden they're like, wait, we need to have three people that people actually like. So I guess she's gonna be, a face now. Yeah, her entrance is really cool. I liked it. I enjoy the fact that we got another kind of fun Eva Marie segment. I'm also
I will admit I did enjoy the Stuck in Traffic.
Yeah. So the Stuck in Traffic was funny. I'm really hoping at the pay-per-view that they have the announce guy start going and says, we are very sorry to report Eva Marie will not be able to compete because she was suspended.
Allow yourself to be enchanted by Eva Marie.
Prepare to drop E with Paige and Del Rio.
But not tonight. And not for the next month.
Not for the next 30 days. So
or each week on SmackDown we get a countdown clock of how much time is left on her suspension.
I want it to be like the old
Eva Marie returns in 24 days.
I want them to find the old MIDI file that they have of Jericho's countdown clock.
Blank, tick, blank, tick, blank.
Yeah, just just make that noise and just take that that image and just make it red. Just
Well,
not even like good, but like MS Paint red.
Still says Y2J across the top.
This is white. No, there's just like a scratch out on it.
It's like
Isn't
somebody
that
put a
the one?
sticker.
Isn't that the same graphic they used for the Nikki Bella Championship countdown?
Probably. Speaking of, that's probably who's going to come back on SmackDown.
Yeah,
She's
she's been cleared to wrestle.
She's been cleared to wrestle. There's been talk, of course. Everyone knows she's coming to SmackDown because she's got to get cum on her, and the only place she can do that is by being on the same roster that John Cena's on. So she will definitely be on SmackDown, and it's good because it'll legitimize the division a little bit. But yeah, for sure, she will be the third member of that team.
Every so often, you just come out with stuff where it's like, oh, that was something that was just said out loud. Okay.
Well, then she'll have to tag team with Naomi because
Yeah.
she'll walk out and have black light look go crazy. It'll look like the bed sheets at Holiday Inn if you take black light.
She'll come down, and then Naomi's thing will be down and be like, why is there like a trail heading to the ring? What's going on there?
They come out in the black light and they're like, Nikki, really getting in the spirit here. And then the regular lights come up and oh, it's just a regular outfit.
Maybe you should have changed before.
Okay. When's the last time you took a shower?
Hey, you got a little something on your face. It's just like streaming.
You mean with water, right, Adam?
Do you
Piss!
Do you think that after John Cena comes in her eye, he says, "You can't see me"?
Welcome back, Troy. Welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to break Jason again so we have to end the show early?
Trying to. Hell, I succeeded.
Hashtag slanted phones.
That's right. So yeah,
you fucking racist.
Obviously, anything that Sasha and Charlotte do makes them seem like the
The fuck did we get back to Sasha and Charlotte?
Because I'm trying to get the show back on track here. So
we're on SmackDown now, Troy. God damn it, SmackDown.
If you let me get my point out, it'll make sense. Anything those two do, they're the class of the women's field, and it makes everything that happens on SmackDown with the women seem like a superstar storyline. But SmackDown is using every single one of their women's talent, not something Raw can boast right now. Mm-hmm. Summer Rae, Alicia Fox with her new titties. So,
did you see that too? That looked like it to you too, right? Because
I gotta admit, I mean, it's been, mind you, this woman's been in the company for 10 years, but it did seem a little bit, maybe it's just a really good push-up bra. I don't know. I got to do a little more research. But the problem is we're not going to see.
She's been gone for a while. She's been gone for a while. She comes back. She looks more talented.
Yeah. So the problem is that I need more evidence, and I got to wait another like 3 months in order for her to show up on TV again, in order for me to get more evidence. So stay tuned. Alicia Fox Titty Watch. Titty
Watch 2016.
2016.
So now that we've managed to scare off any female viewers we might have had,
women don't watch wrestling.
Reports of titties coming out of Greensboro, North Carolina.
So, anyways, Alexa Bliss looked hot.
Yes, she did. Actually, I thought she looked even hotter on NXT with the little ponytail thing back. Oh my god.
She's good. I'm really hoping. Obviously, we're probably going to get the SmackDown after SummerSlam. We're probably going to start announcing what's going to happen because Backlash is probably where we're going to crown our first SmackDown Women's Champion and our first Tag Team Champion. Right. At this point. I'm pretty sure that this takes Eva Marie out of being the first champion, which I was worried they were going to do, because I think 30 days. I don't know. I have to look, but I think that Backlash is within the next 30 days. So, but then again, they could have her show up on Backlash if the timing is right there and win the championship, and that worries me. But I love.
Why would you even say that out loud?
Because it's probably what's going to happen.
It's probably what they're working on. This is what I think that they were writing this for. They were going to keep pushing off Eva Marie's debut, including, mind you, this SummerSlam. I don't think she was going to wrestle. I think that they were going to have Nikki Bella come back in that spot anyways. So I think that they were going to have her again get pushed aside, and her first debut match was going to be her winning the women's championship
Gross.
at Backlash.
Gross.
I think that's what they were going to do. I don't
Gross.
know. Like I said, I have to look at when Backlash is to see if the timeline is right. But if Backlash happens within her suspension, I would say Becky Lynch is probably the person that's going to win it. Maybe Alexa Bliss. I don't know. But I feel like they need to reward Becky Lynch because she's done such a good job. She's been such a good hand for them.
Yeah, but I think she's the ultimate chaser. She's the one I think everybody knows and wants the title on. So I think traditionally that's the person they don't put it on because it's what everybody wants.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably why. I think that's probably why she would make it to the final if they're going to do like a tournament thing or like that, and probably be the one to eat the pin.
And lose Nikki Bella.
If Eva Marie's suspension starts today, then it wouldn't be up until September 17th, and I believe Backlash is September 11th.
Never forget. Oh, yes, that's right. It is September 11th because I made a joke about the fact that it's Backlash on September 11th. So that plan is out the window because the suspension actually starts tomorrow.
Okay, so it would be till the 18th of...
Yeah, same thing with Paige and Del Rio for some reason. They also start tomorrow.
No, I heard they started today.
Oh, still weird. Also, the way that WWE does it,
I think just everybody in the WWE took a piss test last week.
I truly feel like this is because of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
I do.
And his piss.
Yeah. It's not a joke. I truly feel.
You know what I want you to put in this cup? Your piss.
Because I feel like there was so much backlash over the whole, part-timers aren't, and everything like that, and the whole Brock Lesnar thing, that I feel like WWE was like, look, we gotta catch somebody. We know our roster's dirty as fuck, so we gotta catch somebody. Thankfully, it wasn't anyone that's in any storylines.
I disagree there because I don't think that's an issue. They're fresh off tagging Roman Reigns right out of the main event of a pay-per-view, so I don't think that's.
I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. What'd you say? Huh? Are you saying that he missed a main event of a pay-per-view because he didn't?
No. I said that when he was in the main event of a pay-per-view, they tagged him with a wellness suspension.
They tagged him with a wellness suspension, and it didn't make a fucking lick of difference.
Well, he served his 30 days, and then he came back.
He got a 30-day break. He got to be on a pay-per-view. He got to main event the last two Raws. This is the punishment. Anyways, we're not going to get bogged down by that. The big thing is that for sure, obviously, once these guys pop for this, they're not instantly suspended. We know that already. So the fact that AJ ran down Alberto Del Rio, that was his punishment for getting popped for it. So they obviously knew about this probably a couple days before. The way that because they protected him last week in the Orton match where they didn't have him eat the pin. Then all of a sudden this week he's getting run down and he loses. I feel like that is the same thing they did with Roman Reigns where they ran him down and kept making fun of him and stuff like that. I feel like they're doing the same thing to Del Rio here where, hey, you fucked up, so we're going to make fun of you a little bit. We're probably going to bring it up at the pay-per-view and probably for, a little bit until you... I truly believe that there's a good chance that neither of those guys come back, that we never see Paige or Del Rio again for a while, and that they're not... Even when their suspension is over, I think that Del Rio will probably quit, because there has been word of him having an out clause in September. And I feel like Paige is the kind of idiot who might quit. But I don't know. We'll see.
What kind of stupid woman would quit just because her husband doesn't want to work there anymore?
I don't know. What kind of stupid idiot would quit because their wife gets in trouble? Oh, I don't know. There's been plenty of those. Anywho, so SmackDown. SmackDown ended with not the mid-card belt being on the line like Raw has been doing, but with Cena and AJ Styles. Styles did a phenomenal job on commentary. I enjoyed him a lot. I used to hate AJ Styles. Didn't like him in TNA. Didn't like when I heard a lot of things about him and stuff like that. Really didn't like him until he started doing some of the Bullet Club stuff, and his return to WWE. Yeah, he was doing some lucha things. Did you ever notice that Kalisto's lucha thing is just the Fandangoing sped up?
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought AJ Styles did a really good job. You can talk again about WWE choreographing their pay-per-views with, okay, well, Styles goes through a table, he's probably going over Cena. Reigns gets the pinfall over Rusev, he's probably going to lose. But I thought it added a little bit to it. I will say that, yeah, Cena going back and attacking Styles a little bit more is a little bit more of a heelish thing. But it's Cena, he can kind of do what he wants. So
Well, and Cena's put over AJ a bunch in these segments. I mean, AJ's really, between him and the club, has really just kicked the shit out of Cena and dominated this feud, and left Cena laying multiple times. So I think for purposes of credibility, you almost had to have Cena get one back on AJ. And I thought, unlike Raw, they ended their show on an up note, something that does send you into the pay-per-view excited about what you're going to see.
yeah, I was. This did exactly what I was supposed to do. I'm a little bit more interested to see what'll happen, because I think that'll be a really good match, and it's another one of those kind of whatever keeps Cena away from the championship scene is good. And if he will actually put Styles over here, I'm okay with it too. The problem is that I'm hoping that this doesn't go like a lot of Cena feuds, where Cena loses and then wins and then wins and then wins and wins and wins and wins. But we'll see.
Well, Cena's also about to take off to do season 2 of American Grit or whatever the show is, because it got picked up by Fox. So we're looking at another extended hiatus for John. So all signs would point to AJ winning this thing.
Yeah, you would think, but it's still John Cena.
Possibly going on to the championship feud after. So.
I really enjoyed this. Had a really nice moment where previous to this, Orton and Wyatt had a little bit of a look that they gave each other. So potential feuds down the line for those two.
Right.
We obviously I came into the show late. I'm not sure if you've been talking about the Goldberg and Brock Lesnar thing or not. A little bit more fuel to the fire again, because he's doing some promotional things for the video game, and apparently the fans were chanting something like "We want you back" or something like that. And he didn't exactly say he wouldn't come back. He pretty much said, if I given the opportunity, I'll put the gloves and the trunks back on and rip people's faces off. So I could see them turning around and having him maybe do a backstage thing with Brock where they kind of give a little look to each other or something like that, or potentially build towards Bill Goldberg kind of coming back. Everyone shits on the original match between the two, and with all due respect, they should shit on that match. But these guys are in different places than they were when that first feud happened. And when that first feud happened,
one of them hasn't wrestled in like 10 years.
True, but he's still in great shape. Well, the other one has barely wrestled in 10 years, so I would be okay with it if if they did something for Rumble or something like that.
No, I think if you get Goldberg and Lesnar, you're pushing that off till Mania. I don't think you're going to give that away.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I could see that, and like I said, at this point, I think it would be a better match, simply because of the fact that, like I said, at the time they were both on their way out. They didn't give a shit. I think this time, at least, Goldberg would probably want to put on a better show. Lesnar is Lesnar. But I think that he would at least, the two of them would put on at least a better showing than the first time that they were together. I don't think it's not anything that you're going to be really excited for, but at least it would be a better match.
And that's the other part of the SummerSlam match with Orton I'm a little curious to see, is that now that Lesnar's kind of been called out publicly by Ambrose for being lazy in that WrestleMania match, I wonder if we're going to see him. Not to mention, obviously, the UFC is off the table for him now going forward. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if we're going to see Lesnar a little more involved and into this match, and maybe willing to do more and make the better story out of the match. So.
Well, I mean, just looking at the segment he had on Raw, I would say that it looks like he's a little bit more invested again in WWE, because he did a little bit more acting. He got physical with a guy, which we haven't seen him do.
He got on the mic.
He did get on the mic. He got on the mic, which is something he hasn't done in a while. He actually did some moves to guys. He seems like this whole Randy Orton feud has gotten a little bit of a light under his ass too. because he was, when he showed up on SmackDown and F5'd him, you could tell he was having fun again. So I do think that this match will probably be a little bit better, and you've got a guy like Orton who I think carries a little bit more sway than Dean. No offense to Dean, but why should Brock Lesnar care if Dean Ambrose wants to do this or that? He'll care more about Randy Orton because he's a 14-year veteran. He's not going to care about a guy who's been in WWE for 4 years.
He should care about putting on a show at WrestleMania in front of the largest crowd in history.
It's Brock, though. Brock doesn't care about people, and Brock only cares about making his money.
He doesn't give a shit about the kids. We know that, but
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the match will be better than his last showing he had. Obviously, we're in for a lot of suplexes and everything like that. But I think that maybe we'll see some other offense from him as well. So,
how do you think Orton's neck holds up to go into the trip to Suplex City, though? That's what I'm a little worried about.
I'm worried about that shoulder, man. Because I mean, those Germans, they hit you right on those shoulder blades, and
Randy Orton's shoulder pops out of the socket in like a good breeze.
Yeah.
Not Tyler Breeze, but.
Yeah, this is the guy that the last time he was jerking off, he threw it out. So, I was trying, man. I saw you take a drink. I was like, I'm gonna get him.
Almost. If you involved Nikki Bella, it might have got me.
Oh, next time. Last time he was jacking off to pictures of Nikki Bella. Hello. So I think I'm done. I'm talking about SmackDown. We can move on.
The only other thing we didn't touch on, and I want to mention it briefly because you did mention it in your 3 up, 3 down this week, was the newest breaking up of the Wyatt family and Bray abandoning Rowan after that match.
Yeah. The fuck.
We are a month away from Luke Harper coming back, so this really doesn't make any sense. Because
Luke Harper might be back on Raw for all we know. He wasn't drafted.
That is true, and
he's a free
honestly,
agent.
Yeah,
so he can
honestly,
do whatever the fuck he wants.
Well, he's a free agent, but apparently, he's not as good as Crime Time. Luke, Harper could be great on his own. Harper is a great wrestler. He's really good on the mic too, which he never really gets an opportunity to. So I'm 100% fine with him not coming back.
I don't know. He doesn't talk with a southern accent.
He needs to come back with a new look if they're not going to do the Wyatt thing now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, at least different outfit. Obviously, the beard and everything.
He has a different ripped, dirty T-shirt every time, Troy.
Yeah. I love it when he showed up with a new shirt and it was like brand new. And it was just like, oh, look, he's got a new shirt on. There's no rips, there's no dirtiness. Anyway, this whole thing didn't make any sense because we pushed Bray Wyatt as this is a new start for him. Yep. And then that lasted a week. We got Eric Rowan coming back. That lasted 2 weeks. And now all of a sudden they're going to be apart again. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But it's, I mean, they're trying to keep him, at least up in that mid card or up in that upper mid card to main event level status, because I'm sure that they want to do something with him and Dean, or potentially him and Randy Orton. So I get what they're trying to do there, but it's a lot of that weird kind of nonsensical booking that they've been doing lately, where like the primetime players suddenly getting back together for a night. And it's like,
I will give this. I was super critical of that whole primetime players thing. Obviously, I will say this: Bob Backlund doing the millions of dollars dance made me okay with it. Yeah. That was the only part that saved it for me.
See, I would be fine with them doing what they did because Titus O'Neil said, "Hey, let's get them back together again." If this was a way for Titus O'Neil to just straight fuck Darren Young in the ass. But instead of what happened... No, I fully meant that. But instead what happened, you had Darren Young...
Are you sure Titus could reach?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, he's a good first-time guy for you. Anyway, what...
Well, and I know it's not Darren's first time.
No, it's not Darren's first time. Look, I everyone knows I love to fantasy book, but it would have made a lot more sense for Titus O'Neil to
Fantasy
take.
book, the wrong phrase to use given the tone this conversation's taken.
It would have made a lot more sense for Titus O'Neil to screw over Darren Young in the middle of the match and be like, I'm mad. It would have made him look smart. Be like, I let him get, he got his guard down, and they could have done like Owen Hart turning on Ken Shamrock, have the match not even start, and just have, Book of Titus or whatever the fuck his Titus finisher is, and Clash of the Titus right off the bat, and just be like, I fooled you, fuck off. But instead, we have it where it's like, oh, Darren Young accidentally hit him, so now Titus O'Neil has a reason to hit him back. Who's the bad guy here?
Should have done was when Darren Young was in the ring, he should have given Clash of the Titus to fucking Backlund on the steel stage.
There you go. Something to solidify that one of these guys is the guy that you're supposed to cheer for, and the other one's an asshole. Yeah. Instead, what we're getting is Titus O'Neil cheats.
And the other one likes asshole.
Yeah, the other one likes asshole, probably a lot. Then Darren Young cheats to win, and Titus O'Neil's like, I guess I like asshole now. And then in this one, you have, oops, I accidentally hit you in the face, and Titus O'Neil's like, that's okay, man. It happens sometimes. Just let it happen. And then he attacks him. So at the pay-per-view, because I'm sure that they're going to be booked in the pre-show, what are they going to do at this point? Is Titus O'Neil going to accidentally pin Darren Young and beat him? He's going to be like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. His shoulders were down. I was on top of him, man. The whole thing doesn't make any sense.
I still very, very much want to see the skit where like Bob Backlund walks in on Darren Young making out with his boyfriend, and just has a complete fucking meltdown. That's what I want.
No, I'd much rather it be like Bob Backlund's like I want to see Darren Young beat Titus O'Neil at the pay-per-view, and they're back and they're popping champagne, and Bob Backlund's like, I got you a woman, and Darren Young's like, I like cock, dude. And then he has a meltdown. What? You didn't tell me you liked penis. He puts him in a cross-faced chicken wing, and then it like slowly turns into a makeout session.
And then Mark Henry pops up and goes, penis!
What's penis? Ugh.
So before, now that we've gone completely off the rails with gay sex scenarios and fantasies, the only other thing I have left from SmackDown was, and I think Tommy mentioned it in his call, was the useless Apollo Creed and Miz build for SummerSlam. And yes, I said Creed on purpose.
Yeah, during the commercial break.
And Adam, you can attest. I said this on the show 2 weeks ago. They needed to do something to make Cruz feel special. This was not fucking it.
No, not even close.
A big victory over a former champion, something of that nature, something to really set him up as, hey, this is a guy to be taken seriously.
Apollo won the Intercontinental Championship contender match and has not had a match since.
Yeah.
Well, Finn Balor won the #1 contenders and hasn't had a match since either.
but you know what? That's a little bit different because at least he's showing up. Apollo Crews didn't show up the week after winning.
Hold on. Because they were both on that tour. They just took the time to do a video package for Finn, and they only did a highlight package for Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
So they were both in video packages the week they weren't there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to know how else you make Apollo Crews feel a little more special? Have it not be on the pre-show, because that's where the Intercontinental Championship match is, the pre-show.
Is it officially on there?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen that yet.
I didn't see that when I looked at the matches earlier today.
I figured the Six Divas tag and Sheamus and Cesaro would be your pre-show matches.
Well, we got to remember there's like 5 hours of pre-show, so they have a little bit of time to. This pay-per-view starts at 6 Central, and I think that the pre-show starts at.
Yes, the pre-show is 5 to 7 Eastern. SummerSlam itself is 7 to 11 Eastern.
The pre-show starts at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, actually, technically, if you want to be honest, aren't they doing the ESPN shared gimmick from SummerSlam again this year?
Technically, the SummerSlam pre-show. Technically, the SummerSlam pre-show started tonight because they're already doing stuff for SummerSlam. This is the tour of SummerSlam that's going on.
I like that the concert got canceled because nobody bought tickets to it.
If you want to get really technical, SummerSlam was on Monday because we already got some of the matches.
So Raw has like 75% of SummerSlam, has already shown like 50% of those matches on their
Right.
free show. SmackDown has 3 matches booked, has not had The Miz or Apollo Crews barely even in the ring together, has barely had any of the women fight each other because we had one week where 2 matches didn't happen.
No,
then
no Cena and
they're-
Styles last week.
Yeah, no Cena and Styles last week. They haven't fought each other. You've got Dean and Ziggler, who the only thing they've done is team together. They haven't actually been against each other. So SmackDown's winning in the fact that they haven't been giving anything away, but they've also been not really been building too much of their stuff other than the two main feuds that they've got going on are the 2 ones that they've been spending the most time with, which is good. And the women's match does have a build to it, but yeah, your mid-card title, which you need to get it off the Miz at this point because that title is just going to keep getting buried the more it's on the Miz.
I think that's what they're going to do Sunday, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the problem is you shouldn't give it to Apollo Crews because it's going to get even more buried because nobody gives a shit about the guy.
Well, I think they're thinking that that's a way to make people give a shit about the guy, honestly. I
Oh,
think that's
cute.
the plan. I didn't say they were right.
worked.
I said I think that's what they're thinking.
Hey, let's ask Curtis Axel how well that did. Hey, Curtis, because you're washing my windows right now because you need a part-time job, when you won the Intercontinental Championship, and did that make anyone care about you? No, he's shaking his head. No, nobody cared about him.
Meanwhile, when he comes to the ring, and JBL's like, "Wait a second, Michael. I thought he was on Raw, teaming with Darren Young last week."
There's that Curtis Axel. He's not as perfect as his daddy. Who's dead? Michael.
It's not racist. It's not racist because JBL has actually confused the 2 black guys before.
JBL gets confused of the New Day members, so who don't look anything alike. Well, 2 of them.
That's skinny Big E, and the other one's short Big E.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see though what if the rumors are true and this is the way to get Big E out of the New Day and then to have Woods and Kofi kind of continue on as a tag team. I'm very interested to see what they're actually going to do because the last time that Big E was a solo guy, it didn't go so well.
No, and I honestly I hate that they do this formula all the time. It's like you got these 3-man units. Why is it written in stone you have to break them up? Why can't Big E be a singles guy and still affiliated with the New Day? You can
Right.
still make that work,
Right.
and it would actually be something different because they don't ever do that.
Yeah, well, it's what they're doing right now with the club. The club all still wear the club shirts, other than AJ now showing up in his own shirt, but he still had the logo on the back of his shirt. So
I do love AJ's new shirt, by the way.
that was pretty cool. I was trying to understand it though.
If
Because
it's
it doesn't. If it's not AJ Styles, they don't want none. I thought his whole theme song was they don't want none because it's AJ Styles.
It says if it's not P1,
phenomenal.
it's the P1 logo on the front.
Which is him. So if it's not AJ Styles, they don't want none.
It's not
phenomenal. If it's not the phenomenal one, they don't want none. But his theme song says, "Yo, they don't want none." Because it's AJ Styles, they don't want to fuck with AJ Styles. His shirt, on the other hand, says we don't want to fuck with anybody else unless it's AJ Styles.
Yeah, I just like the design.
I'm with you. The design is cool. It just didn't make any sense. I'm reading it. I'm just like, his shirt doesn't fucking make any sense.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
It's like, because it's fine if the back says they don't want none because that's his theme song. But then the front should not say if it's not AJ Styles. It should just be his fucking logo, and be like AJ Styles. They don't want none. Not if it's not me. They don't want anything to be.
All right.
Prediction time.
My apologies to Tommy and Sal. We're going to skip your voicemails and not talk about NXT or CWC this week because we just crossed the 2-hour mark.
This is the process. You used to just have Raw to talk about. It was so much faster.
This is why you should probably do 2 shows a week.
Because I got time for that. Briefly, Billy Corgan now in charge of TNA. At least it's not Dixie. Yeah. And Jason, I pulled this one out specifically for you. This story is specifically for you.
Is there a picture of Titus O'Neil's tiny little packer?
Former WWE performer and Mean Street Posse member Pete Gas will release a book about his time in WWE in March 2017, titled "Looking at the Lights: My Path from a Nobody to a Wrestling Heel."
You had me at gas release, just so you know.
Yeah. I'm assuming that it's going to be the same size and the same amount of page count as one of my daughter's books. And probably just as many illustrations.
We're not going to take the time to read the description because we have to do predictions.
No. Read the description.
No, I already deleted it. It's gone. So, not only do we have to do descriptions, I need to cover this over for a second, but don't mind me. I'm still here. We have to do.
Jerking off.
We have to do predictions for TakeOver on Saturday night, and then also predictions for SummerSlam on Sunday night. So let's start.
Trust me, use the lotion. It's better with the lotion.
Let's see lotion in the basket.
You people that are watching on YouTube after the fact here, that screen wasn't black. We had to edit that out because Adam was taking his penis out.
See, you keep trying to oil me up, and that's not cool.
Anyway, so let's start with TakeOver.
What were you doing?
There was something that needed to happen that was not allowed on YouTube.
So yeah, he pulled his dick out.
He pulled his dick out. Okay.
You can interpret whatever you wish from that.
Either that, or he was making a hardly offensive gesture about Asians.
Yeah. Ember Moon versus Billy Kay.
Adam Rundown. He takes this so seriously, he goes balls out.
I think it's fairly obvious that Ember Moon is going over here.
Oh, we're doing predictions. I'm sorry.
Yes, we are.
Well, I don't.
2 hours and 5 minutes into the show.
Yeah. They've been kind of pushing Billy Kay a little bit, and I loves me some Billy Kay. Loved her as Jessie McKay on the Indies. But yeah, I think that they need to get Ember, whatever her fucking name is, over Athena. I think that they need to get this Pokemon over in order to get to start building up some of these more women, and it's a shame that they're using Billy Kay to do it when you've got some other women who maybe aren't as established. But
there's a lot of confusing decisions like that in this episode of TakeOver.
Mm-hmm.
They debuted a couple new women on NXT this week. I know we're skipping over it, but I thought they all handled themselves pretty well.
They did. That was basically the only point I had to make about NXT was that 6-woman match was great, both as a wrestling match in and of itself, and as a way to introduce those two new women and have them get involved without featuring their flaws too much.
Well, and a lot of people I thought were very skeptical of Mandy when they signed her. The Hawaiian Tropic thing, the Tough Enough thing. They kind of paired her up with Eva Marie on Total Divas. So I think the internet really had a strong opinion of her negatively before she ever stepped in the ring. But I thought she looks like she's put in the work. She looked like she.
Yeah, no, they both did a great job. They both did a very good job.
Yeah.
Well, the problem there is that anytime that you throw someone on Total Divas before they get in a ring, you instantly assume that, they were only signed because they want to put them on Total Divas. So the fact that this one actually has some ability is kind of going against the trend of what they've had in the past. They've already taken her off of Total Divas, so that'll actually probably be more beneficial for her because it takes a lot of pressure off of her, and now she can just kind of become a better wrestler. So,
right. Well, and Daria, I like Daria's got a very unique look. I thought I see some future for these girls. So
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, to get back to the predictions, I think Ember Moon has to win here. Obviously,
obviously.
If you've ever seen Athena on the Indies, this woman is amazing.
They don't give you vignettes and then bring you in to lose.
No, this woman is amazing, and it's going to be fun to watch. I'm not as big a Billy Kay fan as some of you guys. I personally think Peyton Royce is a far more push.
Honestly, that segment in William Regal's office this week where they announced that she was going to be the one facing Ember Moon, I honestly I did not know who she was. I was like, who
she was on SmackDown, Adam.
Who is that?
That's pretty much my gimmick, because I was on SmackDown once.
See, and I will say that she was much better on the Indies than she's been on NXT so far, because they On the Indies, she wasn't so sexualized. She's
Yeah.
very sexualized on NXT, which is kind of a shame because she played a little bit more of a girl next door on the Indies, and she was a lot better at it. So I think she's still trying to kind of find her way on, how exactly to be kind of that sex. Bailey had the same issue where when she came in, all of a sudden it was, oh, you've got to wear makeup and stuff like that. And it took her a little bit to kind of get comfortable with that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I think that Billie Kay will eventually get a little bit better. But I'm with you. Peyton Royce is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And definitely deserves more of a push than what she's getting.
Right.
Well, we'll see what happens now that they're.
I mean, it's
now that they have
crazy when you
spots to
think.
fill.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you think about last year. In the last year, basically, roughly the last year, the NXT brand has lost Sasha, Becky, Charlotte, Nia, Carmella,
Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss. So that
Marie.
was your women's division last year. So there's a ton of opportunity for girls down there to step up now.
Yep.
And you got to think Bailey's coming up shortly. So
Right.
Well, considering what we've got going on in Raw, I fully believe that we're going to get Sasha turning heel on Bailey to kind of once she comes up in a couple of months. So
I think
yeah.
I would imagine Bailey's going to be on SmackDown because that's the roster that needs help more. I think from a legitimacy standpoint.
It could go.
You made the point earlier. Becky is the only legitimate talent you have that could be kind of a top talent.
We're getting Nikki Bella soon.
Natalia.
We're getting Nikki Bella on SummerSlam. So that she is a 2-time champion, longest reigning Divas champion.
Yeah.
So she, as shitty of a wrestler as it is, and the fact and the only reason she's in the position she was in is because
of the position she's been in.
Yeah.
Hey!
Because she was a receptacle for the prototype town. But she does lend legitimacy to the SmackDown women. So I think that with her going to SmackDown, you don't really have that issue as much anymore. But we'll see. Anyways, we're running a little late here. So what's the next match?
No Way Jose versus Austin Aries.
Who gives a flying fuck? First of all, I can't stand No Way Jose. Second of all, he's probably going to win because they keep pushing him. But Austin Aries is a far superior wrestler.
Yeah, I agree on both of those statements. I think I see No Way Jose going over here.
Aries has done far too many jobs since coming up. I think he needs to get a win to stay credible. I think Aries is going to pull off the win here.
Okay. Andrade Cien Almas versus Bobby Roode.
In the match that has no fucking business happening. I mean, it's got to be Rude, but these two just shouldn't be wrestling at all.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. In that they made a big deal about Cien Almas being undefeated in NXT after really having 3 matches since he debuted at the last takeover, and now they're like, "Oh, you're undefeated, and you're gonna face Bobby Roode, who's obviously gonna win his first match on NXT."
The only thing that they could do is Bobby Roode wins, and then Cien Almas goes on this losing streak where he better fucking put over Ty Dillinger, who's put his ass over twice.
Hell yeah.
Who hasn't been on TV since, I think, the Almas match. I don't think we've seen Ty Dillinger on NXT since.
I think we had one match.
A rematch with Almas, but I think that's the last time he was on.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of, yep. I thought you were talking about since TakeOver.
But yeah, if he goes on this losing streak and then they kind of reverse the process and he puts the mask back on and becomes La Sombra again, because he's working differently now than he did as La Sombra. There's just an energy that's missing or something. I can't understand. But if you saw him compete as La Sombra down, I think it was CMLL, it's totally different flow to his matches. It's hard to explain, but I think it would have maybe just he's more comfortable in the mask. I don't know.
Does he still do the running face fuck as La Sombra?
The skull fucker? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very hard to kind of explain for people who don't understand it that when you wrestle in a mask, you have to do everything a little bit bigger because you don't have that. You don't have the face to show emotion, and sometimes you got guys like Sami Zayn who can easily make that transition into not doing quite as much and using the face more. And I think that's what's going on right now with Sombra.
Why did Sami Zayn wear a mask?
Shut up. So I think that. I think that's the problem. That also the guy's got too many names. His his name doesn't flow off the tongue. If it was just Andrade Almos, I'm fine with that. But Andrade Cien Almos is too much. It sounds stupid.
When he was just developing, they were calling him Manny Andrade, and I thought that was perfectly fine.
That was fine. Yeah, Manny Andrade sounds good. Yeah.
And
Andrade Cien.
everybody thought he was No Way Jose.
Yeah. So I'm thinking the problem is that he's probably gone a little bit too far in the other direction on that now, and needs to do a little bit better selling on it. I don't really care about him right now. Honestly, his in-ring work has been kind of just okay, and his gimmick right now is kind of stupid. He's a fucking Chippendales dancer, so I don't understand why he comes out in the suspenders and the hats. And
No, he's the illegitimate love child of Los Boricuas and The Godfather.
By the way, can you name 2 members of Los Boricuas?
There was
Savio
Savio, Jesus. I forget.
Can you name any more?
There's 2.
The guy who got his neck broken.
There was a Hector, wasn't there?
I'm sure you could just start throwing out Spanish names at this point. You'd probably hit a couple.
Juventud.
There was a Jose. There was a Juan.
Juventud.
Anyways, yeah, Bobby Roode's got to go over here. But
breaking news, guys. Breaking news. I got the Patriots game on in the background. Apparently, Rob Gronkowski is the projected starter for the Patriots.
Because that's relevant to what we're talking about.
I didn't know there was a positional battle for Rob Gronkowski. Sorry, go ahead. I just saw something stupid.
No, please finish.
Ready? Here's where we were.
Oh, I already finished.
Here's where we were, and this is what you did.
Yeah.
Which is normal.
That's what happens after hour number 2, okay?
Yeah. Now, going off the rails is normal for this show, but typically it's not sports ball related.
Well, you know.
So, I mean, I
NXT Tag Team Championships, the Revival versus Gargano and Ciampa.
I hear that Gargano and Ciampa are going to have an actual tag team name soon.
They're going to reveal their team. That was one of the glorious bombs this week. Was a tweet saying that they will soon be revealing their tag team name. Hopefully it's Gargampa.
I'm thinking it's probably just going to be Glorious Bomb. This is all just a really elaborate way for the hashtag to continue, and then being like, "That's us. They're talking about us." I still was.
And then they start coming out to Bobby Roode's theme song.
Yeah, I still was really hoping that that they turned around and joined up with Bobby Roode and formed.
I wouldn't be shocked. That was what I was thinking, actually.
Yeah. Also, did anyone watch the CFO $ video that they put up of them making the Bobby Roode theme?
I saw it. I haven't watched it.
I put it on my watch later, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
So they've been putting a couple of these CFO $ because I'm not going to call them CFOs. CFO $ videos of them.
$, ha.
Yep. So they put up a bunch of videos of them actually making some of the themes. So they did like Finn Balor's. They did Enzo, where they actually talked about him rapping on it. And they did the Shinsuke Nakamura, where they actually show the guy doing the violins, and it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then they did the Glorious Bomb, and it's literally like 4 dudes in a room all just screaming out glorious. And that will be. Yeah, they go. It's really interesting, actually. I like the CFO $. They're actually really good. They've been making some really good themes, and they've really been hitting it on a lot of these guys. I mean, you go ahead.
So the Bobby Roode theme kind of reminds me of that old school Christian one, really like the opera singers.
Christian,
yes,
Christian, at last you're on your own.
Yeah. I like that one too. Yeah.
The one
and it works.
The one that replaced.
Okay, so Troy, who do you think's gonna win, Gargano and Ciampa or the Revival?
I'm actually going. So I am still hoping that the Revival join the club on SmackDown. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I think that the Revival is going to be coming up to SmackDown to give an actual, because all the bad guys on SmackDown are kind of joke teams. The Revival would be a really good addition to them. So I think this is Gargano and Ciampa.
I agree.
Plus, Gargano and Ciampa have done such a good job on the CWC.
Dubstep Troy. Dubstep Troy.
That I think that they're going to be winning it.
I'm pretty sure Troy's picking Gargano and Ciampa there.
Yeah. No, I agree. Gargano and Ciampa going over and winning the tag championships.
I'm gonna say the Revival are gonna retain here. I think Gargano and Ciampa might take it down the road. I don't think it happens in Brooklyn.
Okay. Troy still appears to be frozen unless he's fucking with us again. Asuka versus Bailey for the women's championship. No, he exactly.
It's a very pleasant picture that's frozen now.
Seems to be actually be frozen this time. I just got a Snapchat from Troy, meaning it's going to be some dumb screenshot of what I look like on his frozen computer. Anyway, Asuka versus Bailey for the women's championship. We've talked about it before. I'm picking Asuka on this one. It's actually a picture of you. It looks like you're sleeping. That's gone now. I can Snapchat. But yeah, Asuka retains. Bailey gets called up.
Troy get a picture of me sleeping.
It's how it froze on his computer. It's a picture of you, but in mid blink, so you look like you're asleep.
Okay. Well, I think given that you and I are continuing the conversation, we can safely say the issue's on Troy's end.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Asuka too. I think Bailey's got not long for NXT at this point. The only scenario I could see is if they wanted to play up the whole Bailey's a two-time champ and then have her drop it again quickly, but I don't see that happening, so I'm going to say Asuka retains.
Yeah, I don't see that happening because they had the same chance to do it with Sami Zayn and they didn't do it then, so...
But they did it with the Revival.
I'm fine with that. And then we have Joe versus Nakamura for the NXT Championship going...
Hey, you should text Troy and find out if he's picking Asuka or Bailey.
I'm going Nakamura on that one. And Joe goes to SmackDown.
I've been on Nakamura as the winner for a while now. I'm starting to lean towards Joe retaining and Nakamura taking it later. I don't think there's going to be this massive influx from NXT. I think we just did that at the draft. I think they're going to space out these call-ups. So I don't think in this same conversation you've predicted the Revival, Bailey, and Joe all going up. I don't think. I didn't
say the Revival went up. Troy said the Revival went up, and Troy is actually alive again. So welcome back, buddy.
I don't think they're going to carpet bomb NXT like that after the draft. So I think they're going to stagger these. So I'm going to say I think Joe retains here and loses it to Nakamura down the road. I think this is more than a one takeover match.
I don't believe that anyone but the Revival are coming up. So I don't think Asuka is anywhere near getting called up. I don't think Bailey's anywhere near getting called up. I don't think she's coming up until probably towards the end of the year. So I don't see that either. And so definitely, I mean, what's that?
We missed your prediction on Bailey and Asuka.
Oh, I think Asuka's going over.
Okay.
But I don't think that means... I think Bailey you're probably going to see as kind of a Sami Zayn run with her, where she's going to probably go back out of the title picture, kind of try to put over some of the women again, and then maybe come back up before getting called up finally. But
the problem with that is that they've already done that. That was the lead up to this, was her going back and beating Alexa Bliss, and then beating Nia Jax, and then finally getting back to this spot against... So they've kind of already done the Road to Redemption tour for Bailey. So I don't think you can do that.
Oh, I didn't say beating people. I'm saying she's going to put over some other people. I think that they have her lose a couple of times to some of these up and coming chicks to kind of build up their credentials before she finally comes up to the main roster.
Maybe.
So Bailey loses at TakeOver, then she loses to Daria, and then she loses to Mandy, and then she comes up.
Yeah, because NXT doesn't really count.
I would lay down for Mandy anytime she asks.
Wow. Yeah, and who's your pick for the NXT Championship?
I think it's Nakamura's time. I think that the guy is far too over, and I think, but I agree with Jason that this is not something that's going to end at TakeOver here. This is something that's going to keep going. So, plus, I mean, Shinsuke can't really talk, so. They still need someone who can talk opposite him in order to do kind of the Seth Rollins role with him being Finn Balor, where we can't really have Shinsuke say all that much. So, but they've done it very well. I mean, Shinsuke is a guy who puts on a performance with what he does instead of just talking. So
going back to our discussion of the women's championship on Raw from earlier, I feel like the intrigue.
Dr. Raw.
the intrigue. No, sticking with NXT, but referencing something we talked about before. I feel like the intrigue is more in Joe chasing to get the title back than Nakamura getting the shot, losing, and then getting another title shot.
Yeah. Plus, it's Nakamura.
Right.
I think Jack Gallagher runs in and interferes.
All right. For those of you still with us at this point, thank you. Let's talk about SummerSlam and get the fuck out of here.
Oh my God, they're still doing this. Let's go really quickly on this.
Yeah.
Well, it's only like 11 matches.
Yeah. Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus Natalya and Alexa Bliss. Eva Marie has been officially removed from the match.
It's Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella's in there.
Yeah.
Don't forget Nikki Bella. The faces are going over in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to break this down. So basically what we have...
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, Team Becky.
Okay. Cesaro versus Sheamus in the first of their never-ending best-of-7 series.
I think it's got to be Sheamus.
Yeah, I think Sheamus goes over first to give Cesaro the chase.
Yeah,
as it were.
Plus, otherwise Cesaro will have won 3 in a row. So
right. Cesaro's already up 2-0, so Sheamus has to win this one.
Miz versus Apollo for the Intercontinental Championship. I think we've all already said that Apollo is taking the championship away from Miz here.
Only when Mojo Rawley runs out and beats the shit out of Maurice.
Enzo and Cass versus Jericho.
It's got to be Enzo and Cass. You can't have them lose to a thrown-together team.
Obviously.
I feel like this is the point where Jericho and Owens turn on each other and start building towards a feud.
I hope so.
Which is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? We said that about the promo battle with these two teams, though, and it's been underwhelming, honestly.
Tag title match, New Day versus Anderson and Gallows.
The Club?
The fuck was that?
That was me hitting my microphone.
He got so excited about his T-shirt that he hit his microphone.
I did.
Hey, do us a favor like Adam and cover up your screen before you hit your microphone.
I'm sorry. Hold on a second. All right, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, the Club.
That was quick. Yeah, definitely Club Gallows and Anderson and his hot Asian wife, which makes Adam crazy.
Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the Women's Championship. Dana Brooke banned from ringside.
I think Dana Brooke is going to come out dressed as Ric Flair.
I think Ric Flair is going to come out dressed as Dana Brooke.
That could be too.
I think I'm going Sasha on this one.
Yeah, Sasha.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say Charlotte's they're gonna switch it back and continue this feud. There's gonna be someone else that's gonna join Sasha and
You're gonna be wrong.
We'll see.
Join Sasha or join Charlotte?
Join Charlotte. There's gonna be this is gonna be a stable now. It's gonna be Dana and Charlotte and somebody else.
Is Nia Jax the enforcer?
Victoria maybe.
Victorious?
Oh, Victoria.
Victorious.
She brings this tarantula with her, and you know.
I'm alright with that. I love Victoria. She wants to come back. Bring it on. Rusev versus Roman for the United States Championship.
What did you say?
I have no idea.
I thought you were saying balls. Anyway, Rusev, I say Rusev retains. And then maybe
after what happened on Raw, yes, Rusev retains.
Yeah.
I say Rusev retains, but then Roman Reigns goes, "Fuck you! I still get your wife's honor." So.
Oh yeah, Roman Reigns totally was just like, by the way, I came in her last night.
Hey, he's already frosted her face in the middle of the ring.
I was going to say that wasn't cake frosting. Cena versus Styles.
He should probably get that checked out. There was a lot of red in that. He did have a hernia, so maybe something got messed up down there.
Title of this week's show: there was a lot of red in that.
Cena versus Styles.
Styles.
Yeah, Styles. Cena's taken off, so there's no reason to put him over here.
Yep. Ambrose versus Ziggler for the world. I find it intriguing now that they're calling it the WWE World Championship instead of they took out the wrong word in the fucking title, name of the title.
No, they actually, for the first time, took the right word out because heavyweight implies that there are weight class divisions and there aren't. The heavyweight should have never been in there.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with it, and also, but the problem is, you should just call it the WWE Championship, because calling it the WWE World Championship, when people say the World Championship, they think the big gold belt, and when you think about the big gold belt, you think about that was the WWE Championship's retarded little brother that nobody cared about. So, but I will say that nobody seems to fucking know what the belt's called, because Dean Ambrose referred to it as the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. JBL calls it something different every time he talks about it. Mick Foley believes that the United States Championship is the United States Heavyweight Championship. And so nobody seems to understand what the fuck the belts are called at all. So,
Okay, but who wins the match?
oh, I'm sorry, that would be Dean Ambrose, because there's not a fucking chance in hell that Dean Ambrose is going to lose to Dolph Ziggler.
Jason?
I'm going to be the contrarian. I'm going to go on a limb and say that,
you're wrong.
that Dolph Ziggler. Here's the
You're
thing.
wrong.
I think they've done a good job rehabbing Ziggler at this point and making him seem credible again. And I think if he goes out and loses right off the bat again, I think you kind of lose the ability to rehab him again at this point. I think he almost has to win if he's ever going to be considered credible again. He can lose it back, but I think they go for the shock switch here. I think he wins it.
Here's the problem: is I was planning on being the contrarian one and going for Dolph Ziggler.
Wait. They're going to go for the shocker?
The one.
Two in the pink, one in the stink.
Man God won!
Yeah, I'm going Ziggler on that as well. Balor versus Rollins for the Universal title.
Balor.
Okay, so Vince has an absolute hard-on for Irish wrestlers. We've seen how many times he's tried to puch Sheamus to
Are
the
you
top.
rubbing a balloon? What the?
His
We're talking
balloon
about Vince's hard on.
We've seen what he's done in pushing Sheamus to the top multiple times. There was actually a legitimate period of time that the writers have talked about where he wanted to put the World Heavyweight Championship on Fit Finlay. So I'm going to say he's going to take the hot young Irish kid and put the championship on him. And this is in tribute to my wife, who when she first saw the Demon entrance said, "Why do they take the hottest wrestler and cover him up in paint?" So that's a thing that my wife said.
It's pretty hot. Go on Balor on that one as well. And we're going the last match on the list. Orton versus Lesnar. Okay.
I think it's still
Orton.
It's still going to be Lesnar. I think. I don't think that they're ready yet to have him lose. Even some of the problems he's been going through, I still think that they're not ready to have him lose yet in the ring.
Yeah, I think I've gone back and forth a few times. I think that the idea of they're going to punish Lesnar by having him lose to Orton doesn't hold a lot of water for me. I think it's short-sighted. I think it takes away the impact that first real big Lesnar loss in a while could have. And if he didn't put over younger guys that would have made a lot more sense, like Roman, like Rollins, like Ambrose, I can't see the value of putting Orton over on him. And if Orton beats Lesnar, there's nowhere to go but the championship, and I don't see that happening at the next show. So I'm going to say they put over Lesnar here.
My favorite is the fact that everyone forgets that Lesnar has lost within the last 2 years, because he lost to The Undertaker. But anywhere that you look, people are talking about.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you remember how they did that loss? It was basically a fuck finish. I mean, he looked like the dominant guy in the finish anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, the timekeeper went rogue and he rang the bell, but then the Undertaker tapped out, and then he kicked him in the balls, and then he kicked him in the balls.
Yeah, that loss really doesn't count.
Yeah.
All right. That does it. Finally. For the rundown for this
You got another
Thursday,
20 minutes of this.
Thursday, August
Wait a second, we
18th,
didn't discuss Bobby Lashley versus James Storm.
2016.
By the way, James Storm quit.
Again.
Yeah, he did. He quit it again.
I wonder if it's a work, though. Part of me wonders if that's a work.
He's NXT bound.
Well, supposedly when he left last time, Triple H told him he just couldn't pay him the same money, so the door was open if he wanted to come back. So.
Well, and he did say he was going to go work with an old friend. So obviously everyone was thinking that we were going to get Alcohol Money Incorporated.
Alcohol
in
Cash.
NXT. Alcohol Cash, yeah. So maybe either that or he's going to go bury up the corpse of... what was that?
Chris Harris?
Chris Harris, yeah. I don't even remember the fucking guy's name.
Wildcat,
Cowboy.
Chris Harris, brother.
Braden Walker. Braden
God.
Walker.
All right, well, you do that while apparently my Skype decides to shut down magically.
It doesn't matter. We're not on Skype. 362 days since the New Day won the WWE Tag Team Championship. Go to audibletrial.com/rundown for a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial. Atlantic Pro Wrestling returns this Saturday, August 20th, to the Newbury Fire Hall in Newbury, Massachusetts, and Lucky Pro Wrestling is part of the Balloons and Blues Festival this Saturday, August 20th, at the Elks Lodge in Hudson, Massachusetts. Liberty States returns on October 8th to the John McCarthy Elementary School in Peabody, and Elkmania 4, September 24th, at the Elks Lodge in Beverly. Stump Trivia every Tuesday at 8 p.m. at the Port Tavern in Newburyport. Follow us on Twitter at Rundown Podcast. Send us an email to rundownwrestling@gmail.com. Leave a voicemail on the hotline at 617-863-6967, 61 Rundown 7. And if we don't run too long, we'll play it on the show. Like us on Facebook. Tell your parents and your grandparents to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/rundownwrestling. Watch archived episodes at youtube.com/rundownpodcast. And circle me on Google Plus until they take that away from us at google.com/+AdamRundownHost. To send a monetary donation, go to paypal.me/rundownwrestling. It costs me $10 a month to host this on Podomatic. If you want to help out with that, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Talk faster.
If
You know
like
how you know
poetry-
it's late if none of us are interrupting these?
Except now you are, so shut up. If you like poetry, check out Chasing Distant Horizons at tinyurl.com/Distant Horizons. Check out all the shows on the Questionable Endeavor Network, Shadowvane at shadowvane.net and patreon.com/Shadowvane. Check out Troy's show, The Geek and Gamer Guild, on iTunes and Stitcher. Check out Bill, Andy, and Josh on Tooning Japanese on iTunes and Stitcher, and the Raw Attitude podcast featuring our friend Henry Hugepex, and this week's episode featuring Troy as a special guest, iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Follow that on Twitter at QuestEnd Network. Go to the website questendnetwork.com for podcast episodes, articles, live streams. Check out the forums.
I just went on Uber, and apparently Vanguard 1 is actually a licensed Uber driver.
That's good to know.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys,
sure.
Our 20 fans out there, you really need to get on the forums because it's getting really annoying that nobody's commenting on the forums, other than me and Bill.
Wait, there's a whole bunch of guys. They have very dirty names, but there's a bunch of different guys commenting.
The forums, not the website. The website's doing fine. The forums, not so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Search for us on iTunes, Stitcher, or Podomatic under the Rundown Wrestling Podcast. If you cannot afford a monetary donation, you cheap fuck, leave a 5-star review on iTunes because that helps other people find us. If you leave a text review, we'll read your name in your text review at the end of a future episode. Thank you to Tegan Brown for the logo. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Jackson on the side. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Adam. R.I.P. DC.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you. Listen to the Geek and Gamer Guild podcast. Eventually, I'll make a new episode for it.
Blah, 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 blah,
Feel like we've heard that before.
Hey, I've been on 2 podcasts in the last 2 weeks, so I'm getting there. I'm getting a new computer next week, so I should be able to actually start doing some episodes again.
Episode 3 featuring Minecraft coming eventually.
I have no idea what games the pedos are using now, thanks to Troy's lack of...
I'm sorry. I'll get right on that.
And thanks to iFightDragons at iFightDragons.com for the theme song. Next week, we'll talk about TakeOver. We'll talk about SummerSlam. We won't go 2.5 hours. We're going to retool this entire fucking show this week. And as always, Jacob, good night and good luck. Bree, Zong, go fuck yourself. And take care, Bulby Faces. Bye-bye. Sweet jumping Jesus.
Well, then just don't invite me. Don't invite me if you don't want me to show up and take the show over.
Sorry, gentlemen. I have a parenting issue to deal with. I'll be back.
Oh, buddy.
I thought you were going to say you have AIDS.
No, not yet, that I know of. I'm too scared to get tested.
Ba-dum. Ba-dum. You want to listen to the voicemails that during the post show?
Sure.
We do still have 2 left, and then we can read the transcripts. Let's see
did you hear the breaking news?
what's that?
Undertaker was suspended after wellness policy test reveals he is the dead man.
Thanks, kayfabe news.
I really wanted to come up that Ava Marie was doing
My name
steroids.
is Tommy Montesanti, and I am here to talk about NXT. And this week on NXT, we got a lot of hype for the Brooklyn Takeover special. We did, however, get a couple of matches. So in one of the matches, we had a 6-woman tag match, and that featured Carmella, and that featured Liv Morgan. And then that featured Mandy Rose and Alexa Bliss. You know what, guys? I can't. I just died. Like, all 4 of those girls in the ring at the same time? Yep, I'm dead. Fuck that next week.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy. Come on.
Guys, it's Sal, and I'm calling to talk about the CWC. Apparently, Tommy is in some type of catatonic state because something about 4 amazing blondes being in the ring at the same time. I don't know. I haven't watched NXT yet. But he's incapacitated. I'm trying to get him maybe some alcohol or some booze to get him ready for this weekend. But anyway, I thought the CWC was really great. A lot of very entertaining matches. Although I know, a lot of this has to do with contract situations, but I'm really surprised some of the people who won. Jack Gallagher, I thought was entertaining enough that he probably should have won. I don't think Cesaro really did enough to beat him. And I'm surprised that Tony Nese is going home. Brian Kendrick is not going to win this tournament. I'm sure he's a sentimental favorite, but Tony Nese showed that he's where the money's at. So really, he should have went on. And as far as, let's see here, who was in the second match? It was, the guy with the, Ho Ho Lin versus Dar. Yeah, Dar did great. I thought he should have advanced. But those first and last matches, I don't know. I just didn't think the right guy went on. Also, everybody's getting suspended in the WWE. Talk to you guys next week.
All right, so those are the voicemails we didn't have time for during the show, which means it's time to read the Google transcripts. Let's see what we've got.
I'll be right back.
You do that. That's fine. Nobody watches this anyways. Hey, it's just me. All right. Ormy start off by saying, and I understand the importance of TV ratings, and I get the fact that last week's rating probably freaked them out a little bit. But you did value your product when you give things away on free TV. I do not have the diamond appear at all, though. I thought it was a good entrance with a decent reaction in Corpus Christi. You could have done a video package and accomplished the same. It doesn't make any sense that you give that away, you say something like that, but SummerSlam, that's the point, and to be honest, you didn't need to have Recess and In Reigns the one-on-one, especially with a conclusive ending, if you really help it in putting them in the main event, and you want them to go one-on-one, they have them fight into the back and have the whole thing just be a no contest. Why would you have Reigns pin him? On other than the main event of Monday Night Raw, unless Reigns is losing at Summer's point, which is fine. If he is, but still, why do you give that match away? That Max is actually pretty good. And it would have been better at SummerSlam. Far as his best to 7 series, which is our on Sheamus, the only thing that make this compelling is the winner gets a Universal title shot. You know if In wins the title, Xanax changes when this Press 2 7 in series in South Windsor title they have says are when the best cemetery? I just don't agree with the booking decisions. They're making on Monday and Iowa. And I can't really, even focus anything else. So this is me going into SummerSlam disappointed from the Raw side. Talk to you guys next week. Oh, hey, Jason's back.
What's up?
You're back.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? It's Tommy. Martha's not there. Talk about SmackDown first thing. I want to say about Snack On before. I forget. He's in the beginning opening scene. I SmackDown when do until the fire that Apple who wouldn't think he was going to spit it back. It's late. It's 8, but that's cool. 'Cause I know I did. Anyway, moving on, fruity episode. I thought Golf and Dean has another great promo. I liked all getting all types of crazy into it and then super kicking them the building his super kick like they used to bill Sean with a one-shot knockout. Don't a good job that didn't get in the white height. I need to get this match, and speaking of the right height, I also think they did a good job as long as the J. Cole's over on Sunday with CNN age 8 and 19 of putting up in the 8th or the table in rumors flying around that the last time you're going to see Cena for a few months. He's off doing other stuff again, but we'll see. I thought they did a hell of a freaking job. But I thought don't really see that the message they always going to have a good Rio at this point. He's a good again. But you know what? He can do so much more. But here's a couple things. I have a problem with SmackDown. We come back after the opening promo, and week during the commercial, Frank Apollo Cruz has worked with Big That's How You Build Your Carnell Championship Challenger. How is fucking terrible, and speaking of terrible, you want to tell me why we had 12 people in the ring for a tag team match that just ended up in the Schwab in I Look Up Glad American Alpha got the win, and I'm glad Breeze on go with Dan Usuals this time, but I don't know if that's how you build your tag division. It was a little bit. And it's being a convoluted what anybody think about Naomi's new outfit. Jesus Christ. I think I seen that before in the opening scene of Alley with DMX and not, but there was something, and apparently that's what they got our way right now all the time, which is going to get wet, and then, hey, they made an automatic for SummerSlam the 7 hours Thomas Lamb with Naomi and Becky, and I'm Ella versus Natalia and Ava and Electric Les. So we really need this match. I mean, I guess it's not the women need to present on the school our summer swim pre-show, but other than that, I saw Pick Me Up, but her knocking. So we're not going to get Child Benjamin, we're going to get Clear Dawkins back. Hey, maybe him, is that right? I can have a few at Mojo Rawley can get in the middle of it. All is the last thing I want to say about 9 Count as what the fuck would Barry Corbin doing Italy stuff on what you guys think about that for a second. I thought it best. My phone would just leave. My name is Tommy Marcus, Auntie, and I am to talk about an XP in This Week or Next to You. So I did want to put a Brooklyn takeover special. We did, however, get a couple of magic. So in one of the matches, we had a 6-women tech match, and that featured Carmella and Deb Peaches Live Log In and a half featuring Mandy Rose. Alexa, let you know what guys I can't. I just thought I'd like all photos girls in the ring at the same time. Yep, that sucks, but next week. Guys, it's Sal, and I'm calling to talk about the PWC. Apparently Tommy's in some type of...
We didn't even read this one on the air, so we don't need to do...
I did it during the post-show. You were gone. Guys, it's Sal, and I'm calling to talk about the PWC. Apparently in Tommy's about some type of catatonic state because something about for me using lawns being in the ring at the same time. I don't know. I've been watching Next yet, but he's incapacitated and try to get him some. Trust some, maybe alcohol or some booze to get them ready for this weekend. But anyway, I thought to see what we see, what's really great. A lot of very entertaining matches, all them. I know you know of this has to do contract situations, but I'm really surprised some of the people who won Jack tell her. I thought it was entertaining, enough that he probably should have won that. I don't think of or really did have to beat them, and I'm surprised that Tony Needs is going home, Brian Kendrick not going to win this tournament. I'm sure the sentimental favorite, but you know Tony Nice know that he's where the money's at. So really he should have went on it as far as let's see who was in the second match it was. You know, the guy with the whole Lynn versus Dark. Yeah, it sounds great. I thought you should have Advance. But those first and last matches. I don't know, they just didn't think the right guy went on. Also, everybody can suspending the W. Talk to you guys next week. My nose is fucking running still. I'm on Skype if anybody cares.
I'm there, mine's still exporting.
And now we're not gonna be on YouTube anymore. So goodbye, YouTube. Troy's got glasses on all of a sudden. Glasses. Freak with his glasses.
I just felt left out.
Oh.
I'm still exporting. I got like half an hour.
Great.
Hey, new computer tomorrow.
Well, that was a quick and concise show.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I think we went off the rails that she wants to get cum on her. I think that was where the moment where the show just.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, sometimes you gotta do those things.
Like I said, we're going to completely retool for next week. It's going to be a completely different show. It's going to be about knitting.
Yeah. Like I said, we're gonna have to start doing 2 shows. One for Raw and one for SmackDown.
Yeah, that requires us having another host because I'm not going to be able to do 2 shows a week.
I kind of figured this was going to be the problem because you got twice the amount of storylines going on now. So
Well, now we're adding. I mean, before we were doing Monday, SmackDown hadn't aired yet, NXT hadn't aired yet, CWC hadn't aired yet. So now we're like hitting all 4 shows in one episode. It's a lot plus pay-per-view. Now.
Yeah, we got to think of something. But we'll do that off air. Bye, YouTube. I love you.
Bye.
Suck it. Suck it really slowly. Yeah, just like that.
You sound like John Cena with Nikki Bella.
It still says live up there.